so it's a coding. Everyone's seen the images. Two spiraling sort of
It's an antenna.
columns, and that they're linked together, and they've got I've forgotten the letters. It's like G. I've forgotten all the letters, but in any case, like you got those four letters, and it's just a different arrangement of all those four letters all the way down, right, to create this massive code. And then I guess the question is like, at what point, how does the cell read that code? Like, what's the thing that's reading that helix-like structure, and then like presumably taking that information off into the rest of the cell to like, where's that? How does that
I
work?
got you. Here, I'll hook you up with a bunch of information on this.
So I just like I'm not. I think I'm starting to think that a lot of these sort of even that sort of imagery of the DNA structure is just presumably the sort of bravado of science. And like maybe there is something of a DNA code. I don't know whether it actually looks like that. Um, that symbology is rather interesting, like the helix. Why does that exist inside of the cells? Why is it a symbol like that
It has to do with
that can
sacred
be
geometry,
replicated?
resonance frequencies, dude, electromagnetism, toroidal geometry. It has to. It's fundamentally, dude. When you start going, the ancients were right, bro, and this knowledge was given to them by the angels. Right, this goes back to the ancient Babylonian mystery schools. They understood resonant
Oh,
frequencies. The same Tesla stuff the stuff that Tesla's into, that Ken Wheeler into, that's in the alchemical literature, bro. That's inside the grimoires. You know, Solomon's seal
see,
with
my
the
concern is
pentagram
whether or
and all
not
the.
that symbol
Go
of
ahead.
the helix like spiral is an imposition upon the DNA structure, or is it actually sort of like we've taken that from, and the ancients were right. The Asclepius, whatever that one with the snakes were used in medicinal sort of symbology, the snakes spiraling around, I don't know, some sort of stick or something. Um, like, are we imposing the ancient symbology, and this is just like the incarnation within modernity, and they trick it up with all this CGI stuff, and they give it some letters and make it look cool, or
No, no.
is it actually there and the ancients were right all along? Like, I don't know. I don't know how you actually even ascertain this stuff, because all this PCR testing stuff is just I've gone looking into it. It's obnoxiously arrogant about the way that they presume things work. That they can just multiply stuff.
I know, but you guys aren't considering the transcendental either. Right? If you look right now, this is actual cell mitosis in action. This isn't CGI. This isn't Photoshop. This is legit actual cells. The only difference, these cells have been radiated. There's some isotope so that to add some coloring, right? So that we can see what's going on. That's all they did to it. They added some radioactive isotope to give it some color. But you can see the
How do
mitosis
you
in
know
action.
that's not CGI?
Oh my
How do you
god,
know
dude.
that?
Here we go, dude. See,
Don't appeal to your
can't do.
god, okay? I no, I
Yeah.
appreciate where you're coming from. I've
It's
seen this stuff
dude, cell
before.
mitosis is dude, oh my goodness.
No, but like, how do I discern honestly the difference between this and a a photograph of a satellite in orbit around space? Like,
This is
I don't
observable
actually
in the
know
lab.
how
You
you
could do
discern
this in
that.
any laboratory, bro. It's not impossible to do this, dude. It's
Not to mention
unfalsifiable,
also like
unverifiable.
I
You know what I mean? It's unlike
I appreciate this, man.
space.
I appreciate you digging this up. Like, it's really awesome imagery to look at. Like, just to think about it. I mean, if it is true, obviously. But is that the helix-like structure there in the center that I sort of? It's sort of there, but
No, so this is actually Taylor's specialty. This is what she does for work. She studies this specific process and the microtubules or something like that. Microtubules.
yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen
give
like
me a
a
sec.
CGI one where it was pre-COVID that they came out with this like these little machine things that were running across. I'll go find the video if you guys want. It's like a TED talk, and it's pretty fantastical. And what they're proposing is the nature of like, I, I'll go grab it. Probably be for the best. Sorry, continue though.
Yeah, I'm pulling up some stuff right now, but you see how incredible it looks, and how it just looks like there's something guiding the whole process along from the outside, like an external force, like sustaining the, like, you see it. It's all electric. It's like the way that the DNA combines, and the whole replication process is incredible. Oh, right here. Replicated chromosome with sister chromatids. See this microtubules? This is what you're seeing. This is what this image is showing. Now the interlocking pieces, this is the DNA. It's actually right here. It's being formed. It's being replicated, copied. The code is being copied. And we're seeing the process of DNA replication right here in these videos. This is actual footage. It's not CGI, dude. Now, granted, it's very small, the DNA. You can't actually see it in this image. They've only been able to conceptualize it at that scale, right? But we can see sufficiently to see that there's something going on there. And they've been able to. I'll grab some better images. Hold on, let me see.
Have you So I just posted a link. This is something that sort of took my imagination. It's like it's a 2012 video actually, so it's way, way, way before I thought. I must have come across it like 3 or 4 years later or something. I was completely taken away by it at the time, and they were like suggesting that if you look at that TED talk, that those little things are just running across the, I don't know, DNA strands or I don't think it's the DNA strands. It's like the point at which the mitochondrial, like they separate and like a cell divide, and it shows this whole animation. It's towards the end of the TED talk. But I don't know, man. Like
That's
this is
exact. Yeah.
obviously an animation. Mine's
Well, hold
obviously an
on.
animation. And
Yeah,
go ahead.
that's conceptualization. At that scale, they've conceptualized that. They don't know exactly what's going on, but
No, but
the
like it's
scale.
an animation taken from the stuff that you seem to be presenting. It's almost like I mean, it's a different way of
You're
observing
right,
it, but
absolutely correct. But I'm trying to tell you that the scale that they're presenting right there is not what I believe is going on at that scale. But we can see sufficiently though, right? If you zoom out a little bit, I'm about to show you right now. Give me a sec. I have gifts of this, dude. But there's definitely some type of organization going on there that seems like machinery. Like it's so orderly. It's mechanistic, like organic machine. Organic machines, sort of like viruses. If viruses were real, I don't know if they are, but if they were real, they're like organic machines because they're not really alive. They're more like programs.
greatest invention Bill Gates ever came up with, convincing us all. But yeah,
If they're real, because I'm not convinced that they're real
man,
either.
yeah, it's so clear to me now. Like I don't know, but whatever. People want to
Yo,
believe in
peep this
things.
video right here: the fourth state of life, bioplasma and bioelectricity. I don't know if you're familiar with bioplasma, or if you ever studied like structured water. Um,
Yeah, the blood.
there's a few, the blood, the plasma in the blood. Oh, what about exosomes? If you don't believe in viruses, you probably know about somatids and exosomes and
Yeah,
microzymae.
yeah.
Right. So if you know about that, then that's right in line with the machinery that is actually organizing the DNA. It's more in line with like little orbs of light and like energies, like actual fields, than it is like robots. Like, you know.
Oh, so you've got sonoluminescence, and I just imagine there may be something going on at this sort of micro, sort of biological level that's like chemically based though, and it's doing some sort of luminescence like that, but I'm not sure.
But you know about the microzymae, right? This how they're like little balls of light.
Yeah,
You can see them
yeah,
in the cell.
familiar with
Actually,
it.
I'll
It's been
post them
a
right
while
now,
since
dude.
I looked into it, but that stuff's pretty
They
cool.
they're actually that's what organizes the DNA, bro. They got footage of it. If you've ever studied the microzymae, they have footage of it, bro. You can see it. They're little balls of light.
Just to let you know, my battery's about to die. I'll be back in 5 minutes or so.
That's all right, bro. I'll be around. Oh, right here, this one. You can see the little you can see the little dots. They're in purple. Those purple dots are the microzymae. I can't really post medical information in the chat, otherwise I would. But if anybody wants me to directly message them, there's like tons of medical stuff on these little microzymae I could send you. But those little blue dots, pretty fascinating, and they're indestructible. And scientists are still trying to figure them out, but they seem to have this weird morphology where they can change into anything they want. Sort of like stem cells, but they're way smaller than stem cells. And I think their morphology is even more extreme, or their capacity to change is even more extreme than stem cells. So yeah, these are actual images of cell mitosis, and those are the DNA strands right there being replicated. It literally looks like some type of spiritual phenomena, like ectoplasma and things multiplying. It literally is a miraculous event, and we take it for granted, dude. But it's insane, dude. Absolutely phenomenal, bro. And we still deny the very L who formed us. This is a step-by-step actual footage of cell mitosis. And then the conceptual one right after. Here's the GIF. It's not loading up. There it is.
So it's kind of like, what does that mean then? The cells duplicate, but presumably, I don't know, what is it? It's not like one cell's giving birth to another. It's just separating. So presumably they still have the same, like, what is it called? Age. I'm trying to work this out, like, right? Like they tell us that like all the cells in your body are replaced every 7 years. That's sort of the general sort of thing I've heard before, right? But then if the cells are just dividing like that, then I mean, when they like what creates the new, like the old and the young? It's just like a divide or something. I don't know. Is that like a, I don't know, something's
Yo,
weird there.
but you see this picture, hidden electric skeleton uncovered in organic life? There seems to be the source of all life, of all energy, is coming from inside of us, right? But it's connected through a conduit, right? Which is there's a substrate, right? Some call it the ether, the substratum, the background medium, the ruach, right? And that field, that ruach, the spirit of God that permeates all things, that animates all life. There's a conduit, so sort of people have no problem, conceptualizing this when it comes to the sun and the moon, right? With induction, you have two polarities and you have induction, and there's like this energy that's propelling them in their orbits. Where
Hmm.
that same energy, the same energy that propels the luminaries in their orbits and keeps the clouds, the cumulonimbus clouds, the thunderstorm clouds suspended in the atmos. The force that's keeping all that water suspended in the atmos is the same force that animates all life. It's one force. It's a unifying force, and and we're connected to it through the blood, through our breath. When we breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. Through our DNA, that force is being exchanged as a conduit. That's why the Bible says that life is in the blood. The life being the ruach, the life force, right, is in the blood of man. Because there's the conduit. That's direct
Yeah.
conduit to the ether through the heart. The heart is literally a toroidal engine. If you study the heart, bro, every time the blood goes through, it vortices through the heart in a toroidal fashion, and it charges the blood, and it gives it an electric potential because the DNA itself is piezoelectric. It's made out of proteins that are piezoelectric that, when compressed and experience mechanic stress, they literally create a spark or voltage. So every time the heart contracts, there's a literal voltage, or not a voltage, but like I'm not using the right terminology. I'm trying to convey the idea. So pump action alone is not sufficient to explain, the blood circulating through the system effectively. Classical pump
Yeah, I
action,
agree with that.
that's not going to do it. Go ahead.
No, I agree with that, man. So I was just agreeing with you. It seems to me that like these helix-like structures that sit within the arteries that seem to have a repulsion uh, capability. So like the walls of the veins are essentially interacting with the flow. and then that leaves then like what's the necessity for the heart then? I haven't necessarily related it to like an electrical pulse that it's put through the body, although I mean presumably it's detected. I always just kind of thought about it sort of just providing back pressure, so it actually blocks the
No,
flow,
way
and
more
then
than
it
that.
allows. Yeah, I got to assume it's going to be doing a bit more, but yeah.
There's electromagnetic potential flowing. We are electric beings inside and out, and we're connected to our surrounding reality, right? We're connected to it electromagnetically through our blood. Like our blood is piezo. The DNA itself is an antenna. It's an electromagnetic antenna. It can receive and transmit information through electromagnetic propagation. It can receive
Yeah,
information and also transmit information. It's incredible, dude.
I've spoken to Blob about this, and the way he relates it back is like, yeah, the body is an antenna for some form of energy. I don't quite understand or appreciate necessarily, but like the human form, like the way it is, maybe it's in the blood, the plasma, whatever it may be, but it's just sort of it's receiving that energy just because it's like formulated in the correct way. But then I start wondering, is like, if you chop off someone's arm, are they in the correct form to receive that information? Like the antenna might be off or something. Um, but they seem to be functioning quite well. But then you get these, like the idea of the phantom limb sort of process going on, which is like interesting in itself. But what is the overall proposition? Like we are shaped into this form biology, and as a consequence, it's sort of we receive the energy of consciousness. Is that kind of like the bigger picture, or?
Well, no, I'm just trying to connect the whole physics with biology and also the breath of life, and I just figured it was a cool. Plus, it shows the intelligent design. Look at the complexity. Look at how beautiful. Like,
What do you think about that idea of like the mitochondria just separating themselves, and but all the cells in your body like it's duplicating itself? But is it having like is there a younger one and an older one? It's not quite working on the same base level that we use in sort of biological life as we understand it, like conscious beings. You're born into the world, you pass, you go. These things are just cell replications, like without consciousness, presumably. Although, I mean, you might say that there's a lot of intelligence going on there at the base level. So I don't know,
yo, you
but
gotta
it's
watch this video right here. I posted it. This last video. Four state of life, bioplasma and bioelectricity, dude.
yeah, check it out.
While the heart does while the heart does exhibit characteristics of a pump in the sense that it propels blood throughout the body, reducing its function to that of a mechanical pump oversimplifies its complexity. The heart is a vortex, and the blood exhibits piezoelectric properties. It can generate voltages when subjected to mechanical stress. I already said this, but there are centripetal and centrifugal forces acting on the blood when going through the chambers of the heart. And I got this from Dr. Thomas Cohen, which I think Witsit had him on recently.
Yeah, Thomas Cowan's he's good. I like him.
Witsit had him
So
on
what's the
recently.
proposition then? That there's an energetic sort of flow through the heart, and it's like a filter, like it's energizing the blood and it's putting into this sort of fourth state, this bioplasma. That seems reasonable to me. Like it's that
No,
sort of, what do they call
yes
it?
and no.
Heavy water? Or like it's like, I don't know. Go ahead.
No, no, you go. I was
No.
just saying yes and
Um,
no.
well, that's what I'm imagining is kind of going on, and I can also sort of infer then that medicine, like if this is actually sort of pertinent to the nature of health, like the plasmatic state of the like your internal liquids. This is like a filtration that the heart's doing. I don't know. It makes a lot of sense to me. They sort of just refer to the heart as just a pump and is actually performing a way more important sort of our energetic state for this fourth state plasma.
Yeah, Victor Schauberger talked a lot about it. This guy, and this is basically so all the cells. Well, and maybe not every single cell, but cells normally have a lipid membrane. You know, but that lipid membrane that surrounds the cell, there's multiple layers within it. So it's not just fat. There's omega fatty acids that make up the lipid membrane, and there's a layer that's connected to the omega fatty acids, the oil that's known as plasma, and that plasma layer is actually made up of structured water. That's what plasma is. The plasma that surrounds the cell membrane is is actually structured water. I showed an image of it, what it looks like. This is what the layer would look like around the cell. You have a negative charged ions and a layer of positive charged ions. It's kind of odd. I don't know exactly what's going on there, bro, but this is Schauberger's work, and they actually show images of it, what it looks like. You got the bulk water plus particles, and you got the gel.
That's cool.
This is the very edge of the cell.
That line is way too straight for a cell, in my opinion, but I appreciate what's being sort of depicted here at least.
So I've done a lot of work in this myself, not work, but like research. Because I studied cancer years ago, and there was something about there was a doctor. Her name's she was a biochemist from Germany. Died. She's dead now. Johanna Budwig, and she specialized in the voltage of the cell, which at that time I was just beginning to study this stuff. And at the time, the voltage of the cell, that was so foreign to me. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like human beings and voltage? Like that was so odd.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
yeah, yes, we have voltages, and our cells have a healthy voltage. They're supposed to be around 1.8. And all cancer patients have blood cells of a voltage of 0.8. A healthy individual would be 1.8. And if you were to raise the voltage of the body, their cancer seems to diminish or go away. So they noticed that, and she would increase the voltage of her patients through natural means by increasing the healthy concentration of fats in the body. The body then starts to replace the trash fats, right? Because a lot of us, if we've been eating, I can't believe it's not butter and canola oil and vegetable oil and all that rapeseed oil shit. That stuff is wreaking havoc in our systems. And if we're not eating healthy fats, our body starts to then constitute itself with trash fats, and then the voltage starts to suffer. And when the voltage of the body starts to suffer, you start to have ailments that could manifest in a multitude of ways, but it could manifest in cancer. Because something with the transmission, because voltages have to be up because the transmission line starts to suffer. The cells that have to transmit information right? All this machinery is going on, all this stuff's going on, all these processes going on. There's an energetic force that's controlling all the information, right? There's a conduit, there's energy, there's ley lines in the body. And when the voltage is down, the information has problem being transmitted and the code can get corrupted. So cells can become rebellious and disorderly, and the body then tries to control for it, and it causes all types of problems. So when you increase the voltage by introducing healthy fats, she started to notice that the voltage started to raise and the cancer went away. Not correlation doesn't mean causation, but healthy patients have healthy voltages. That's all I wanted to say. But
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's one of the contentions I have with Blob. Like he's very anti-mineral. He thinks all the minerals are causing massive problems. And what was it? He sort of just basically recommends eating animal fats, which the animal fats are presumably full of minerals, as opposed to like seed oils. I think seed oils are too like synthetic and artificial, and they sort of maybe pull all that stuff out of there. So I don't know. It starts getting too complex for me at that point. I just sort of defer back to a point at which you're like, if I eat this and I feel that, then you just follow that. So it's sort of if you try eating something and you try it on for a little while and you feel better as a consequence, and just follow that path. Seed oils are like, yeah, a lot of problems.
I'm going back in the history and just looking stuff up that I posted. But you guys already know about all this stuff, dude. But
Yeah,
it's
dude, when we
fascinating.
started eating shit like I can't believe it's not butter, that also causes, I think that caused a spike in like cognitive uh disorders like Alzheimer's and dementia and shit because your brain needs that fat. It's like real, it's like real cholesterol and butter and real butter. And I believe it's not butter, it doesn't have that.
Oh my god, dude, that's a deadly combination, dude. If I ever heard of one, statins, and I can't believe it's not butter, bro. Imagine you're taking both statins in the morning and then you're eating your toast with I can't believe it's not butter, bro. Oh my god, dude.
And then you're told that
I don't
like
know, dude.
that's
I
the
didn't make this
brilliance of
stuff
the
up. I'm not a
marketing.
doctor, dude, bro, but oh my god.
That's the brilliance of the marketing, man. To say that I can't believe it's not butter, it's like it's so brilliant. Because I think at the time they were telling us like fat and butter like makes you fat, but then they sell you this stuff that's sort of got a similar texture and saltiness or whatever they put in it. Yeah, I mean, fucking brilliant marketing. Sometimes I think it's as a consciousness in itself is actually somewhat of a problem. It's the thing that gets hijacked. They tell you things like like an animal. I don't know if an animal would necessarily sort of, although apparently what is it? They subjected the rats to the cocaine or something, and they chose the cocaine. So maybe it's just like biology leans that way. Like they just have an ability to sell us a product that tastes good, that feels good, but it's like inherently not good for us.
Dude, they only took the cocaine and drug water when they were alone. When they were in a, well, they took it when they were in a
No.
good habitat too, but they didn't OD on it.
So when I feed the dogs, right, like, and they're not my dogs, they're like sort of my brother's dogs. Um, he feeds them like the what is it called? The pet food stuff, like the hard biscuit stuff. And I generally, so when I'm looking after them, feed them like raw steak and like raw meat, and they go for the meat hard. Like you put the meat beside the pellet stuff, the dog. Like I think he buys really good quality stuff. He says, but the dry food. they'll go for the wet steak all the time. Like they know like it's like the better shit for them or something. I don't know. They're not tricked by it. But if you put the doggy foods out in front of them, there's nothing else there. Then they'll take the doggy food. I just think human beings are kind of funny like that. Like you can put like advertisements in front of us on a pixel TV and sort of show sort of like this succulent looking McDonald's hamburger, and then people will just, I'm hungry. I'm going to go to the place with the big M out the front of it and buy that shit. That's the way that they hijack your consciousness. That's why like
Or yellow.
that's the confusion of the like living as a human being compared to an animal. Maybe I don't know.
It's known as a chestahedron. There are two cones that make up the chestahedron at equal angles of 26 degrees. One fits over the seven-sided form and touches all the vertices. But there seems to be 7 little like vortices that form in the heart, bro. It is really odd, dude. It just happens to be the number 7, dude. But
Why 70 no special number that it don't stop in a Fibonacci number?
it is the one. It is the most special. The most special number.
Most
in my
special
opinion.
number. How so?
Nah, it's one of the most. But it is the one sacred number that it's missing from most philosophers' formulas. I'll tell you that right now.
Why is it
a
special number though?
It's the one number that would, according to the ancient Zadok priests, it's the one number that unifies the gears in the calendar. The gear for the moon, the gear for the sun, and the gear for the stars, along with the days of the week. It's the only way that it can all be reconciled and calibrated together is with the number 7. Not 369, not pi. None of that. Pi is used to describe our universe, right? Sacred geometry. But the number 7 is used to calibrate it all together. It's in a septenary form. The year is actually 364 days, according to their reckoning, because of the flux. There's like this flux that occurs.
No, if they have it all 64 days, we'd have time left over. You got to keep going.
According to the heliocentric. Yeah, according to the heliocentric model, I get it, but
I mean, what are we going off?
Good thing we don't follow that. Right?
Are we going by how long it takes the sun to get back? Because it's more than 364 days too.
Yeah, because there's a flux. There's a flux in and out. A centripetal centrifugal flux.
Are you saying a year is when the sun gets back to the same spot?
Nope.
Well, what's a year then?
A year as defined is 364 days.
I know, but what are you going off of? No sky movement, just arbitrarily 364
No, it's
days.
not arbitrary. It's not arbitrary. See?
It sounds like it. You don't have anything.
No, it's not. It's not anchored on. See, that's what I'm saying. You're presupposing that the year must be anchored to the sun. You already started off on the bad foot.
All right, man. Where'd you get 364 from?
Don't worry about it. Not because you already know we got it from heaven, dude. We got it from above. We got it from God, dude. But that's not sufficient for you.
All right, that's fine.
So
that's fair.
But no, the 364 days is what's needed to reckon the actual year, to reckon the sun, the moon, and the stars, and calibrate them together. Even though, from our perspective, there seems to be an excess of 364 days because of the remainder, which is like a day and a quarter. When you actually factor out time properly in 7-year time spans, that extra like fraction of a day, right, is resolved. If we just had faith in God and reckoned the years as He told us to, that anomalous remainder would resolve itself, because the way that the cosmos were created are so precise that it calibrates itself. There's no need to account for that remainder, because the flux in the cosmos, because you got to understand that even Walter Russell understood this to be the case, right? There's a cosmic pendulum, right? There's an inhalation and exhalation, right? of the cosmic breath. Like right now, the sun and the moon and the stars, whether you realize it or not, there's a slight inhalation and exhalation. It's ever so slightly minuscule, but just enough that it manifests as an extra day and a quarter from our perspective. But in the grand scheme of things, that breath is very consistent. It's unchanging, and it has a quantifiable pattern that they've used to actually use as a time marker. Because the peak of that breath, right, its extension. Think about your lungs. Your lungs exhale and inhale, right? They reach a limit, and then they come back again. Actually, I told this to Kosho years ago. He didn't believe me. He came back and was like, "Era, you were right." Because after they looked at the time scales and they looked at all the epicycle data, they realized, oh wait, like it's not that the moon is going out from us infinitely. Is that the moon has this oscillation where it moves out and then comes back, moves out and then comes back, moves out and then comes back. It's not fleeting. You know how they say it's moving away ever so slightly and it's gonna go away. No, it's not doing that. It fluxes. It moves in and out.
I saw like something. The guy, there's a channel called The Dusty Truth, and he was talking about something like this, or the spillover effect or something. It's like there's a kind of like recurring fraction at the end of every year that allows for variation. I mean, I don't know exactly what he was saying, but
Yeah, you got to ride the wave.
So what does that mean for the fact that we correct our calendars to keep it all at the same, like in sync at the same time? Like, should we not just allow the new year to be happening at a different time throughout the calendar? I don't know how that works exactly, but
if we did it like Lion said, 364 days, you'd end up having Christmas in June at some point.
No, that's not
yeah,
true
for
at all.
sure.
No, you don't even know
Do it.
You have no idea what about the calendar at all, dude. That would not happen. It doesn't process. All the days are fixed.
No, but
all the
you
days
just
are allotted
add,
for.
you
They're
add in
fixed.
extra days. Like it's like 364 point what? Point two? I can't
That's what the
remember.
Gregorian calendar does.
It's 365.2.
Yeah, according to the sidereal, right, dude, he's basing all this off the heliocentric model. That's why I don't know why you're doing that, Jeremy.
No,
it's
not
leap
the
year
heliocentric
in order
model.
to keep it everything.
Yes,
in
it is
at
the
same time.
heliocentric
Hold
model.
on, guys. It's not the heliocentric model. It's how long it takes the sun to get back to one spot. There's nothing. I mean, that's just in reality.
Prove it.
Prove it.
They add a leap year.
Dude, I have a sundial, dude. I actually do this for a living, bro. Like you don't think I've already considered everything? You're not telling me anything I don't already know, dude.
They add a day.
There's a solar year. Yeah, there's a tropical year and a sidereal year, dude. There's a sidereal rotation of the Earth.
They add a leap year. Like there's a leap year. They add a day for every leap year. Why would you not just allow it to process?
Because you'd have Christmas. You'd have Christmas in June.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Because the equinox moves into January, right, Brainiac? How are we gonna have the equinox in January, dude, or in June?
It's summer here in Australia. We have a summer Christmas all the time. You guys are gonna I don't know, just experience the unreal.
But you guys are silly.
Come to the south side.
You guys are silly down there, though. That's the thing. Okay, so if
you're basing it on some unholy holiday or something.
If we did Lion's thing with 364, or just changed it from any deviation of what we have now, you'd end up having Christmas in wintertime down there.
That's patently false.
And then eventually
and
then eventually you'd end up with it coming back around at the end of your life.
They've already had some of the world's greatest mathematicians come together and work on these calendrical scrolls. You're talking out your ass. You have no idea what you're talking about, dude. The Zadok calendar is not going to process in the way that you talk about. They're fixed, dude. The days are fixed. They're accounted for. Everything is accounted for. Everything is reckoned for. Everything is harmonious with the sky. It's the most harmonious calendar that exists.
And
there's not a better calendar that exists right now.
You add
in the earth, in the world,
because the calendar keeps it consistent because you add a day every leap year.
Dude, I have
a calendar
by Dr. Ken Johnson regarding
they're constantly adding days in order to correct for the factors, right? They just add a day.
it's not just add a day, bro. This is so much more. I'm not even gonna get into it with you guys, bro. Honestly, it's not even worth it. You got the Jewish calendar, you got the Gregorian calendar, you got solar, lunar calendars. It's unless you're passionate about the topic, bro. Like, why would I get
Okay,
into it with you?
do they not add a day
Yes, there's different
every
ways
4
to
years?
reckon. Yeah,
Cool.
there's different ways to reckon the calendar, right, or the
So
times.
why do you
And
need to
some use
reconcile it?
calibration, some use leap days, some use leap years, leap months.
Why
There's
do you need
different
to do
ways
that?
because everything's in constant flux, bro. You don't everything's moving except the
No,
earth.
it's
The earth
because
is the only thing
it's
that's fixed
because you want to keep
in
Christmas.
goodness,
It's
dude.
because you want to keep Christmas on the same day to
It has
like
nothing.
rectify it.
No, bro. The whole reason we
That's what
have time
Jeremy
at
just
all.
said. He's like,
Yeah, no, but
the idea of having Christmas during July or whatever, like, is abhorrent to him. It's like, what? Christmas in July? No way.
well, the Jews had this problem. A lot of people had this problem because they noticed that when arbitrarily fixing the calendar, like he thinks I'm doing, right? You have the years processing. You'll have spring beginning in winter. If you don't account
No,
for the
spring just
remainder,
happens when spring happens. What's happening on the calendar is separate to the events in the world. The calendar is man-made. The world is the world. Like, that's just the experience. Like, you're in spring, the expression of spring. What it says on the calendar is a separate thing. It's the reconciliation with the calendar to try to like keep up with the what do you call that, the seasons. That's sort of the reason why they need to manipulate the calendar, right? Well, not manipulate it, it's just like to correct for it, to keep the
because there's
calendar in.
meaning. Yeah, there's meaning. There's reason, and categorizing your life. Like not like you have to be able to quantify these things. Like how long have you been here? When are you gonna meet up with your friend? At what time? On what day were you like, dude? If we didn't have no time, no reckoning of time,
I'm not
how
saying
could
to
we
get rid of
function as a
time.
society?
I'm not saying to get rid of time. I'm saying, like, I'm questioning whether or not the reconciliation is necessarily required. At the moment, we've
Yes.
got, because Christmas will end up on the wrong day, which, I mean, you can just celebrate Christmas on a different date, right? Like, the date is not solidified. It's a sort
Yeah.
of time of year actually solidified by the stars and the sun.
Yeah, but it's better if we can account for our days and not that not have a have at least like a record, a reliable one. Why would you want to be like lost in the dark, not knowing what day it is, what time it is?
You're not lost in the dark, dude, if you're having Christmas in the spring or the summer. I don't know. Like, I don't understand like where you're coming from. Like, just because you want your calendar set up in a certain way so you can
No,
celebrate your
because you
days.
lost
Like,
you.
what's the?
It's like losing track. Why would you want to lose track?
You're losing
Why
track
would you
of
want to be
what?
lost in lost
You're
in
not
time, like
lost.
not having a reference point? Why would you want to be like that?
No, it's a
Dude, we
changing
do
reference point.
365 right now with the leap year. So it ends up to be 365.2. If you say 364, that means we would lose a day every year. So in 180
I
years,
know. Oh my
Christmas would be
goodness.
in June, bro. That's
No
just a fact.
shit,
That's
dude.
not going off of
It's called
anything.
no shit. If you don't account for the remainder of days, it's gonna process. You're gonna end up starting the year either in June or in winter, depending on how long. Yeah, eventually you'll end up right back where you started because you'll process a whole year backwards.
Exactly.
Nobody's denying that, dude. But if you follow the luminaries, right, that remainder of days accounts for itself after 7 years, dude, because of the flux. Because the whole cosmos is in flux. It has a perpetual, constant flux that they use as a time marker, Jeremy. These people use sundials to track time. They track times for hundreds of years. They realize this. They realize patterns, right? That we today we've forsaken. We no longer use them as time keepers or time markers. So this extra day that you think would be a problem after so many years is not a problem, dude. If we just stay according to God's reckoning of 364 days, and every 7 years you'll notice this contraction with the sun in its geometric position That's why they have, dude. There's all types of stuff in there, an lemma that they have to account for.
Dude, that skip you're saying, that shit don't happen, bro.
It does
Like, you never
happen.
showed us. I asked you to show us.
It's in
and you can't.
2028, dude. And yes, it's
Alright,
coming
well, in
up, dude.
2028,
It
you better
happened in
fucking pay
2022.
attention.
It's gonna happen in 2020. It's been happening every 7 years for 3,000 years. We have cylindrical scrolls, found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Mishmara D. I have provided evidence. You guys are unwilling to look at it, and you're not persuaded by it. It's like dealing with Globers.
I mean, if you're gonna just show like text or something, yeah, that's one thing. But I want to see the skip.
Coming in 2028, dude.
All right, well, I want to fucking see the skip. What days it happening?
What? Sorry,
I
what do
want
we
to fucking
expect to
do it.
see?
I'm gonna
It's-
do it
What's
myself, dude.
skipping? What's skipping?
Tell him, Lion. Go ahead.
So it's just too. That's what I'm saying. It's too complex. Let me pull up some notes on it. I'll pull up notes on it because
Bro, he's saying the sun's gonna just skip ahead.
it doesn't
Like,
skip.
it's gonna
Like he's
Pac-Man
thinking,
in
though.
the sky? Oh hell! What are you
No,
talking about?
no, not like that at all. That's what he thinks, dude. That's a straw man.
Dude, the thing you're saying, it has to. What do you mean there's a straw man, bro? You're saying there's sun's gonna be in one spot, and then it's gonna be in a different spot. What do you want to call it?
We're gonna call it
No,
the Great Blip.
So you gotta understand, how much does the sun shift from day to day at subsolar point, Jeremy?
What kind of gotcha question is that?
How
It's not
much
a
does it
gotcha.
shift
Just
from its subsolar point
I'm trying to walk you
on a
through
daily
it.
basis?
Yeah,
I don't know.
around 20 miles, 15,
Okay.
20 miles.
Yeah,
Right?
and you're saying there's a
15,
skip
20 miles.
where one day it's gonna be 30
Hold-
miles or something?
Hold on,
40?
dude. Well, we'll get there, bro.
Or one day it's gonna be 30
Hold-
miles or something?
Hold on,
40?
dude. Well, we'll get there, bro. One baby steps.
I know,
So-
I'm trying to explain the skip to Riksky though. He don't get it.
We'll get there, dude. Let me do it, bro.
Hold on,
So
you're
the
saying
sun-
I'm straw manning you. What is it? All right, go ahead.
So the sun's position, right? Every day of the year, it shifts, right? It moves on the
Okay.
surface of the earth. It literally moves. So
Yep, got it.
theoretically, right, the sun can only be perpendicular from the surface of the earth, right, at a single spot, right, on the surface of the earth, which they
20 miles a
documented
day.
this.
Yeah, what's
20
your
miles
thing?
a day.
Okay, but what's your thing then? Not 20 miles a day?
No, well, listen, dude. So throughout the year, right, from day to day, it's making its progress south. So let's say we're on the equinox, right? On the equinox, the sun's overhead where?
The equator.
At the equator, at 0 degrees, right? It's on
Every
the
day
equinox.
it's getting 20
How
miles,
big is
20
how
miles.
big is the equator?
I don't know what that means.
How big is the equator north to south?
I don't know.
See, you don't know anything. So why are you challenging me?
Can we
on
get
this?
to the skipping part? You said I strong
I'm trying to get there, bro. But you're not. So okay. So
You're gonna give me a gotcha because I don't know how.
No, it's not a
Twitter is,
gotcha, bro. It's not a gotcha, bro. It just can you just
don't
be
know.
like, can you work with me though? Can you work with me?
Yeah, I'm trying to work with me to get to Riksky to explain in the skip.
No, for both of you. I'm talking to both of you. So the equator, right, is 69 miles. Each latitude, the equator itself is a latitude line. Even though it's 0 degrees, it's a latitude line. That latitude line has a thickness, right? There's a segment. If you were on the Earth, yes, it's a transcendental boundary. If you imagine a segment on the surface of the Earth that from north to south is around 69 miles thick.
All right.
So the sun, its subsolar point is within that 69-mile segment, right? Now, the thing is, within that, so at 0 degrees, you have a segment of 69 miles from year to year. Though the sun returns back to the equator, it returns back to the equator within a segment of 69 miles, but the subsolar point only moves within 20 miles. So
yeah, if what you're saying
actually,
is
from
true,
hold
we'd have
on,
an
dude, hold on. So
equinox.
actually,
I
from
thought you
year
were
to
done.
year, I know I did it for. I paused for impact so that you absorb what I'm trying to tell
For
you.
impact, no, don't pause
now
for
I'm-
impact for me. I don't need it.
All right. So so the sun, as it makes its revolution, right, and it returns back to the following year to the exact position it was the previous year, its geometric position in space is not equivalent and identical to the exact position it was 365 days earlier. Its geometric position is actually shifted around 14 or 20 miles, and it does that every single year, and it's a cumulative amount that it starts to shift away from its geometric position at the beginning of the first year. By the time you get to the 7th year, there's a natural oscillation that the sun does back and forth within the 0 degree segment that you guys completely overlook. Probably had no idea of it. Weren't even interested in it.
Chill out, bro. So geometric position of the sun, what is it? Moves beyond like it's set time. So you set the time up. What was the time? How many days?
64 days a year, dude.
365
days
days.
according to the Gregorian. The point is that the sun makes its revolution. When you guys say, "Oh, today is 1 year," right? It's because the sun has now returned back to the equator. Yeah. The problem is that when the equinox happens on the Gregorian calendar or on the global calendar, right? In my opinion, it's arbitrary because the sun actually isn't in the precise geometric position it was a year prior. There's wiggle room there, and that wiggle room is problematic.
Okay, can you just like confirm for me? So the fact that it's a so it's GP basically, right? So it's geological or geometric position, whatever. That's the Earth's position, and you're saying it's going beyond the 364. I think you actually need it. This is like where the relativity proposition I think starts coming in a little bit. What are you comparing that to? Right, so like you've got two positions. You actually need a third position. Are you using the stars?
Yes.
Is that the third position?
No.
Okay,
no.
cool.
And you bring up a very good question, dude. You bring up a very good question. So most people, like the Globers, they assume the stars to be the best reference point to reckon all of time. That's a faulty premise, right? They come to that premise because they presuppose that the Earth is in motion. So they look for something in our reality. The most fixed position, most stable, immovable position that they could contrive is actually the backdrop of the stars. And within the backdrop of the stars, people like PhD Parks presuppose that within the backdrop of the stars, the most ultimate pseudo. Oh, I'm screaming, dude. It's too early for this. It's 7:30. The most ultimate pseudo fixed position is a quasar. And now they're using quasars to reference time.
What's a quasar? Is a quasar like just some sort of star out there in the universe or something?
It's a luminary out there in the backdrop of stars that they think is the ultimate fixed reference point that we should be using to reference time. The most fixed, unmovable, unchanging position that they could possibly contrive is a quasar or a group of quasars on the outer boundary of our universe. That's what they use, right? Instead, they should be using the reference frame of the Earth, which is the only fixed, immovable reference point, the lab frame. That's the position that they should be using. That's the position that the ancients used.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Because you can flick the like if they're observing a quasar and it's not moving, you could just theoretically put that back to the position of the observer, so you can go back to the Earth at that point. That's funny.
Okay, but did you ever tell them about the Schmiegel when it skips forward 7 days?
The what? The Schmiegel?
Yeah, it's the Shemitah, and I just brought it up.
Oh.
Yes, the sun, its geometric position slightly moves, right?
Skips
around 20 miles from equinox to equinox, and you guys, oh look, now we have an extra day that we got to account for.
You said it skipped 7 days worth in one day.
This is the thing, dude. He's not willing to actually receive what I'm saying to him, dude.
I received it, dude. You said this.
Dude.
I think you'd say
Jeremy, don't wake up and be ornery.
You said if you marked where the sun is every day, at one point there would be a huge jump. No?
Yeah, because you're using the calendar.
You have to whisper, you can't be on.
Correct. Yeah.
Is it the calendar that changes or the sun that changes?
So let me explain it to you. I have a sundial. Actually, I pull up my camera and show you, but it's not. I've shown it before, dude. I have a sundial. The ancients had sundials. You can actually, if you had an obelisk or a gnomon or something, anything that you could fix in your backyard, you can do this yourself. You can track the sun every day. Just mark a line at the tip of
Okay,
that
wait.
gnomon. Just mark a
Yeah.
line, dude. Do it, and we can all do it together. This could be a group
Mark it.
experiment in the following years.
Okay. Wait. So are you saying that if we were to look at the analemma, you would see a jump or something? I think that's what he
It-
means by it skips
Yes.
forward 7 days. It like
Yes.
It's the
you would
no. It's the cumulative. It's the cumulative amount over 7
So-
years.
so if you but if you were to look at okay, we need like 7 analemmas done in
So
like,
that
constantly
cumulative
or
amount
something.
that he's talking about, that would be problematic if not accounted for. The sky accounts for it itself. It calibrates itself. It's remarkable, dude. Unbelievable. Only a god like the El of Abraham could have come up with something like that. Where
Like
man
presumably
is
so
still
because it skips or something. Like it appears
no.
to be manipulated or something. Because
It's just the rhythm of time, dude. It has a rhythm that's so. It's just you have to be in tune.
Yeah,
bro.
but it's got an arrhythmia. It sounds like, because every 7 years it has a bit of a palpitation.
It happens to line up
You're stupid.
with
Why would you use that terminology, bro?
Because he brought up the rhythm, like the idea of the heart. I'm like, okay, well, let's go with that one. It's got an arrhythmia.
I'll try to pull it up, dude. Let me see.
No, which is what he's sort of implying, though, is like it's sort of the reason for the like the hand of God, almost like invoking like this
So
sort
here
of
we go, dude.
deviation that
Enoch-
occurs.
Enoch 7242, talking about the equinox. At that period, the night becomes shortened. It is 9 parts, and the night is equal with the day. The year is precisely 364 days. From equinox to equinox, and the harmony of the world becomes complete every 364 days for the signs of the seasons and the years. When completed, amount to 364. Enoch explicitly emphasized that we keep the calendar and reckon the years according to 364 days. Yet, what's man want to do? They want to do 365. Give me a second though. In essence, the
Christmas in
364 day Enoch
July.
calendar compensates for the
Jeremy.
heliocentric solar year's additional time, 365 and quarter days, through the slight oscillation during the equinoxes and solstices that are marked by significant time markers by marking a double 48-hour period. And they've also noticed this during the winter solstice, when the sun during certain periods during the Shemitah, they'll notice a 48-hour cycle where the sun does not move. It remains in one position. So normally where there is on the sundial, you notice a shift from day to day to day. There's a 48-hour period on the on the winter solstice where the sun will remain fixed. Its sub-solar point will remain fixed in the same position for 2 days. Because it's making its movement, before it makes its movement back north, it stops, and then it makes its way back. This slight oscillation during the equinoxes and solstices directly corresponds with the intercalation every 7 days. Every 7 years. Every Shemitah cycle to realign the calendar with the weekly cycle. Using the full moon's position as a secondary marker that signifies beginning points of the cycle, which is consistent with the calendrical scrolls. They use the full moon also as a guiding light because, according to the creation account, on day 4 of creation, when the sun and the moon were appointed, the moon was fully illuminated. So when the moon was created by God and appointed by God, it was fully illuminated. It was a full moon on that night. And it would have rose in the east gate on the equator, in the very middle of the horizon. The sun rose in the east, set in the west. The moon rose in the east, set in the west. In the very middle of the horizon, and this is this time marker that they followed, where the moon would follow the sun's gate. the sun's track. Think about magnetic ley lines or tracks that the sun and the moon are on. Well, there's certain time periods where there's conjunctions or alignments where the sun and the moon will literally ride the same exact magnetic track, magnetic ley line. And they will enter the same portal, the same gate in the east, and set in the same portal in the gate in the west. And that only happens at specific time markers connected to the beginning of cycles, the beginning and end of cycles. And this specific cycle is consistent with this reckoning. It's all harmonious. So the solstices and equinoxes have a slight pendulum-like oscillation completely disconnected from the stars. They oscillate to and fro within a 7-year period. In essence, the 364-day Enoch calendar compensates for the heliocentric solar year's additional time. So it's not going to process. You're not going to be starting the years in winter and summer. That's not going to happen. The 364-day year kept by the Zadok priest was one of fixed weeks calculated in advance and based on a symmetric division of days of the year and its seasons into equal 7-day periods. The best definition for the year, according to this calendar, is neither solar nor lunisolar year, but rather a 7-day septenary schematic year. The priests who maintain the rotation in the sanctuary, a symmetrical yearly calendar of identical weekly and quarterly periods comprised of 52 weeks, were endowed with the responsibility of an eternal covenant. They observed the continuous annual cycles of 52 weeks with the appointed appointments, along with 7-year cycles of sabbatical years and jubilees. These cycles think about it. If we're all inside of a vortex, a torus field, and that torus field is spinning all around us in a cosmic ocean, there seems that vortex, that field itself, seems to have the tendency to expand and contract ever so slightly, dude. The entirety of it. So everything that's submerged within it would also experience it. And from our perspective, we would start to see like maybe a slight deviation from our alignment because of that expansion and contraction, but it's ever so slightly, dude. So I'm trying to say, like, you wouldn't even notice it unless you had a sundial because it's so minute that you can only pick it up with shadows. We're talking about thinner than a human hair, bro. So if you were to track the sun on a daily basis or on an hourly basis or whatever, you could actually see it's this expansion and contraction that I speak of. Because the sun, because it's in this field, and it's also under its influence. So and then the moon also, they experience a similar expansion and contraction. But relative to us, they have all these numbers with perturbation and nutations and wobbles, and there's lunar wobbles and earth wobbles, and by the time you try to figure it all out, dude, you're lost in the sauce. When it's a lot more simpler. Oh, and then relativity. Oh my goodness. You start to consider the equation of time and the revolution of the earth. Dude. The ultimate reference point is the earth, though, is the lab frame, not the backdrop of the stars, which is how they reckon the sidereal year. I got this from a friend of mine. He says there is no fake 365 quarter 332 days ever lived out in reality. Here's a fact that we need to remember. ... There's never a partial day observed in any year. The averaging out of all the 365-day normal years and 366-day leap years may be mathematically equal to approximately 365.24322 days, but in reality, there are exactly... Now he just starts fractioning off time, dude. 31 million seconds in every 365-day normal year, and 31 million seconds in every 366-day leap year. This is true because God's time clock is so precise that those who run the atomic clock must add in a leap second every couple of years to match God's absolute precision, which is down to the millisecond accuracy. So, the atomic clock folks can't adjust out that pesky last millisecond, which means they must divide out about half a second by over 31 million plus other seconds in a year, which is a very understandable problem since it's so minuscule. Think about the incalculable timing of about half a second that must be divided by 31 million plus seconds in order to match the Creator's perfection. So everything combined, right? This is redundant. Keeping track of the extra quarter plus days when looking at everything, holistically and how everything works is redundant. It's problematic. It's stupid. What they're saying is you could average out, because there's every 4 years there's a leap year. You guys know that, right? You guys know about leap year? So we could do away with all of that. We don't need any of that. They're saying if we just combine 366 and 365 years together, it'd be equal to what we already have. So why even do it?
If you don't do a leap year now, you have Christmas in July at some point.
No, dude, that's not. No, it's not the case. That's reckoned for. It's not that it's not reckoned for, bro. It's reconciled, dude. We don't ignore it. But there's no reason to focus on it, because you're presupposing that the Earth is in motion around the sun, and that the most fixed position is the backdrop stars. But that's not the most fixed position. The reason that you're ending up with this erroneous reckoning is because you're presupposing that the Earth is in motion, dude, and that there's not a better way to reckon the sky.
I'm not presupposing that at all.
So if you were just to stick to the sun's position and not appeal to other
just the sun's
reference
position.
points.
If we got rid of one day every 4 years, got rid of the leap year, eventually you would have Christmas in July.
But we have the equinox that starts every year on the same day. Why would we have Christmas in July?
Because you want to get rid of a day every 4 years.
We start the year on the same day every year. Why would we have to worry about the year's precession?
Because you're going to get rid of a day every 4 years.
I'm not getting rid of a day every 4 years.
If you get rid of a leap year,
that's what you guys are doing.
If you get rid of the leap year, you get rid of a day every 4 years. You said get rid of the leap year, right?
Yeah, I don't get. Yeah, you guys add a leap day every 4 years. I can get rid of that leap day because it's accounted for at the 7th year. Every 7 years.
If you get rid of that leap year, you end up with Christmas in July, dude.
The sky.
You can't get rid of a day every 4 years and not have Christmas in July.
The sun naturally accounts for the remainder that you experience during the Shemitah cycle. That remainder of a day and a quarter is accounted for by the sky itself. You're incredulous. You're like, that's not happening. That's not happening. Okay, dude. They've managed to figure out a contraption of a calendar, right? That is pragmatic, dude. It's useful, right? The Gregorian calendar is pretty good, dude. It's not bad. But there's no real harmony in it, dude.
What does a calendar need harmony for? If it's useful, what's wrong with it? It's just a calendar. It doesn't have any sort of physical influence on anything. Just a way to keep track of something.
Yeah, and ideally you want to be able to have an orderly calendar with doesn't have any defects in it, so that you could keep track of time.
Pretty orderly. 8 billion people use the same one, and it seems to work all right.
Yeah, but it's not about appealing to pragmatism, right? Because I could appeal to pragmatism, utility, usefulness. That's fallacious, though. We're speaking about the which calendar, right, is less defective. I presuppose, right, that, or I propose, not presuppose. I propose that the the Zeta calendar is more harmonious and more accurate and more elegant than the Gregorian calendar. And he says the Gregorian that my calendar would process that I'd have that had winter in spring or some shit. What'd you say, Jeremy? I have Christmas in summer.
July, yeah.
In July.
We have Christmas synced up right now with the amount of days we're doing. Christmas lands at the same time every year, right? You agree on that, yes or no? Because I've follow up. Well, hello, Lion.
The Christmas fall in the same time every year? No.
So Christmas is slowly processing, and we're gonna have Christmas in July soon.
No, dude, it's not an all or nothing.
So it's
fallacy,
happening
bro.
at the same time every year.
No, bro. It doesn't
It's
actually
not
happen
happening
at the same time
every year, and it's not processing. Okay, that
no,
checks out.
No, dude. It doesn't happen in the same time every year, bro. That's the difference between the Zeta calendar and the Gregorian calendar, bro. The Gregorian calendar, they shift. The equinox could start Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's not fixed.
I'm
It
talking
shifts.
about days of the week, dude.
Yeah,
since I've been alive, we've done
even the
Christmas
holidays
in the
can
middle of
shift,
winter
dude. Your
every
birthday
year.
could be on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. No, dude, you're not letting me talk, dude. The days of the week shift, dude. You're not listening. You're not being receptive. You're just trying to attack my
I'm not talking about
paradigm,
days
bro.
of the week, dude. I'm talking about since I've been
listen,
alive.
Bro, since you've been alive, your
Christmas
birthday
has
has shifted every fucking
Bro, you're
year
not gonna
since
let
you've
me
been
talk.
alive, dude. No, you're not letting me talk. You're not letting me
I'm not
talk.
talking about days of the week. That's fucking
You made a
stupid. I know
claim.
it shifts.
You made a
I know
claim.
it
I'm addressing the
shifts
claim. You're
days of
still
the
not
week.
letting
That's
me.
fucking
Okay,
stupid, dude.
so why are you acting like the Gregorian calendar does not shift days? Why don't you hold yourself to the
Nobody
same
says
standard?
shift days, dude. This is straw man.
Why
dude.
don't you
Just stop
hold
talking. Straw
yourself to
man,
the
stop
same
talking.
standard?
Straw man, stop talking. Okay, thank you. No one's talking about shifting days of the week. I'm talking about the same time of the year. You just went on some wild goose chase there. You know, I don't even want to.
Same
I don't know why
thing,
you're
the
being
same time of the
disingenuous
year.
like this. It's very strange. There's no need to be.
It's
There's no
not the
need to be
same time of the
disingenuous and bad
year
faith with
if
this.
it's
Like, I don't
not
know
the
why you're
same
doing
day.
it.
Are you
I don't know why
saying
you're
that?
being
Oh, hold
bad
on.
faith with this.
No, you're being bad faith because I've been expanding on
Christmas
this with
is
good faith, and
always
all
on the
you've been doing.
25th and on the 26th, Lion. That's what he's talking about.
You guys both
That's
cut
not
from the
what I'm
same
talking
cloth.
about. I'm
Yo,
not
listen.
talking about that, Crizzle. That's another straw man.
Yo, listen. Are you telling me? Because if your premise were true, right? Are you telling me that the days of the week have been dislodged?
Nope, didn't say anything about days of the week. You're the only one who brought days of the week up. I'm saying Christmas
you don't see
you're
the
not,
connections.
You're interrupting me. Interruption.
I asked you a question.
Interruption.
You go to answer,
and I'm answering.
I wanted a quick yes or no.
Interrupting.
All right, dude,
And you're
go
interrupting.
ahead. Go ahead.
Can I say your straw man and then say my actual point, or you're never gonna fucking get it? If I don't say my actual point, you're never gonna fucking get it, dude.
Go ahead.
No one said anything about days of the fucking week. I don't know why you even brought that
I brought
up.
it up because it's logically fucking relevant, dumb fuck. It's
you can just
logically
show
relevant.
up, dude.
Stop
It's
gaslighting
not.
me. The reason I brought it up is because for your premise to hold,
You're
the
never
days of
gonna
the
get it,
week,
dude. You're
the
never gonna let
days
me
of the week
finish.
would have to be dislodged because you're saying that it's the same time of the year. It's not the same time of the year. If it
You're never
was the
gonna let
same
me
time
finish,
of the
dude. You're
year,
never gonna
it
get
would
it.
fall on the same day of the
You're just
week.
interrupting, calling people names. I'm done.
Whatever, bro. I'm not gonna get treated like this. I'm
You're just
trying to be
interrupting,
good
calling
faith.
people names, and you're talking about me treating you some certain way. You're
Bro,
interrupting and calling names, dude.
yeah, because
I'm not
you're,
gonna be treated
dude,
like this. That's why I'm backing out.
bro, because I'm actually trying to convey information to you in good faith. You're not my enemy. I have no reason to challenge you on this. You don't have a dog in the fight. We're both flat earthers, right? We know that the cosmology is fucked up. I'm simply trying to show you a different cosmology, and you're resisting every step of the way. You're not even willing to hear me out and be charitable with my position. You're not. Why don't you at least try to hear me out, dude, and be charitable? Did he leave? That's what I'm saying. He's not even being charitable, bro. So again, the days of the week, as far as I know, they've never changed. We have calendrical scrolls going back 2,300 years. The days of the week have never changed. What does change, though? The holidays. Now, some holidays are arbitrarily fixed to the days of the week, right? But we know our birthdays shift, dude. Sometimes their birthdays are on the weekend, sometimes they're not. Why is that? He's saying that because the Gregorian calendar might put a date on this day that it's definitely the same day of the year that it was the year prior. When I say the same day of the year, I'm talking about the alignment, the geometric alignment of all the luminaries, right? Have to be identical to the year prior for it to be the same day of the year, right? Because in my mind, the year is fixed, it's consistent, right? It has a rhythm. It's not arbitrary. And then he thinks mine's arbitrary when really his is arbitrary because his days are actually the ones that shift because of the Gregorian. So there's a beginning and end of the year. The Gregorian calendar doesn't have a fixed designation for that, which is why the days get dislodged from their allotted portion. It's not actually the same day as the year prior. That's what I was trying to explain to him. And this is actually,
Maybe
this
you
might
should
sound,
listen what he's trying to explain to you, Lion. Maybe you could come to an understanding.
I know what he's trying to say. And this is what the Jews experienced this. And the Christians were dissatisfied in the 2nd century. Because why? Because Passover, Easter, was being practiced in the middle of winter. In the middle of December. Well, who the fuck who's practicing Easter in the middle of December? That was unprecedented. They knew something went awry with the calendar. Because at that time, the
Yeah, but
Jews
they
had taken
corrupted
over.
Easter.
That's irrelevant.
They
The
corrupted
point is
Easter
that they were
totally.
normally Easter was always kept in the springtime for thousands of years. Passover was kept in the springtime after the spring equinox, where the sun's at the equator. And then they did something to the calendar where they started to drift. The year started to drift, and the days started to drift and become dislodged. And then they started to practice Easter in the middle of winter. And then they expressed their grievances. And then you know what the Jews did? They came up with the modern Jewish calendar in the 2nd, 3rd century, and they fixed the calendar to the moon. It's called the menatonic cycle, where now it follows the moon's menatonic cycles. They realized that the moon has just like I said, there's patterns in the sky, right? They found a pattern that they adopted from the Greeks, where the moon has an 18, 19-year cycle, where it repeats its great cycle.
I think that's called the Soros cycle, and I also believe that the current cycle that we use in regards to calendars is the Gregorian calendar, named after Pope Gregory in the 15th century. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're right, dude. You're right. We follow the Gregorian calendar that was engineered over thousands of years and polished, and it is a good calendar. But there's better.
Yeah, the one that I've heard about from mathematicians, including the world record holder for the fastest human calculator, Scott Flansburgh, he said that, and other people as well, have tried to convince governments to move back to the 13-month, 28-day calendar. That way, Tuesday would be on the same day of the month every single month. Well, I mean, like Tuesday, or Sunday, whatever. It wouldn't be changing and fluctuating. There would be no leap year. Calendars are very interesting in regards to. I'll pull up the video and show it to you guys.
Yeah, but if you do 7 times 4, that's 28 days, and that's exactly a moon cycle.
That's what I'm saying. That's the point of it. It might seem a little crude for me to bring this up for any ladies, but everyone is all adults are aware that women have a menstrual cycle, and that is usually due to the moon phases, and also for other reasons as well. When women are in large groups together without men around,
They sync up.
yeah, they sync up. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know. I don't have a menstrual cycle, but every single woman I've talked to said, yeah, that's what happens, and it changes based upon different things, but it's associated with the moon cycle. And I do believe it was, well, Lion, I think you said you said the 2nd or 3rd century or something like that.
Yeah, the Hillel the Elder.
That's way before Pope Gregory then.
Well, Hillel the Elder was part of the Sanhedrin, and he was this Talmudic Jew who compiled the Babylonian Talmud, actually, and he also was pivotal in helping engineer the Jewish calendar that they use today, because he's the one who fixed the moon to the calendar, or fixed the calendar to the moon. Prior to that, the Jews were using some weird calendar that kept drifting.
That
wasn't
one I
the
don't
original
know about.
calendar.
I would love to look into it
Isn't
more.
that
According to
Lion,
the Hebrew
isn't that
calendar, it's year like 5,000 or something, and then the Chinese calendar, the Mayan calendar, and then we have like the Gregorian calendar. All these, they're all different.
Julian.
Lion, that old Jewish calendar, ain't that based on turnings of the stars?
The Jewish calendar that they use today is really a Greek calendar. It's a Macedonian calendar. It was kind of engineered over time. Antiochus Epiphanes, when he pillaged Jerusalem, he forced them to follow a different calendar. So they lost the ancient Zadok calendar, which was recently discovered in the Dead Sea Scrolls. That's the one I'm talking about. It's an ancient priestly calendar that pre-existed the Hasmonean dynasty in Israel before the corruption came in. That's according to my worldview, right? And I believe this ancient calendar, that's also known as the Enochian calendar, was given to us by beings from above, and it's of a higher domain. It really is. There's no way that we could have came up with this. Impossible. There's no way.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and just show this to you guys. I know this might be something like, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse or anything, but either way,
You know, they say that misery loves company, but doesn't gravity also?
They say misery loves company. That's why I hate living in Kansas City.
Was that near? Oh, it's near Misery, the state. The state of misery.
Is miserable.
Miserable, but that's debatable. Lots of hills there. Lots of hills. But yeah, like, you know, gravity likes other things to gravitate with, and misery. People love to make other people miserable, and there's people from Missouri. A whole nother ball of yarn.
All miserable.
Like misery is misery, and then gravity is grave, and that's, you know, yeah. Deep thoughts in the morning here. Snack handy. I think I figure out how a fly sees, and why there's such badasses in the flying department.
Do you think they're like in the upper echelon of flying capability?
Maybe so. I think that because of the way that their eyes are made, they have an ability to just see air vectors. Like they can see the air kind of. And I think that they're taking preference in their flight paths to, like, they're navigating that stuff, I think. Very, very fast.
They'd probably have to, you know what I mean? Like just for the body weight ratio.
A lot
That's
of its
like
eyes.
that's a good theory.
I saw this thing where they take it's like half of the anyway, yeah, there's a way to it's a video
Come on,
process.
dude, lock in.
It's a video process, basically makes it like monochrome in this way, and you can see nothing but the movement, only the moving pixels, like only the things that change from frame to frame are registered.
I don't like that.
It's cool.
I don't like that.
Well, like you could see, like you can't photograph footsteps, but you could see the change of footsteps, like in a rock path. So it's possible to like see footsteps that you would see things that you would not otherwise think are there, kind of. And like the same is true for all like these environmental conditions that are there that you don't see, like little bugs and mist and wind and vapors and shit like that you really don't see in the image. You can actually extract that stuff out and see it. It's pretty cool. I don't know.
You know, Elon said he can get one of those Neuralinks and like basically reconnect any severed nerves. And that Neuralink's like the router between the severed nerves. And he said he can basically make a blind person be able to see, which is, you know, like a miraculous claim in itself. But I wonder if they could get an adapter kit and like hook up some fly eyes to our optical network through the Neuralink, and then maybe we could see what the flies see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe we have a similar type of vision base. If it's, I think we're
Like, I mean, if you're gonna do transhumanism, bro, you gotta really do it. You gotta become the animal. Like, you can't just look like it, you know? Like, if I want to be the fly, I need to be able to see what flies see. If I'm like a wholehearted transhumanist, I want my kids to be the actual thing. And so that means I need
I
to be
guess
hooked up to the fly network.
like they tell you that a fly looks like, you know what I mean? They'll show you like picture of what they think fly vision looks like, and it's like, or a dragon, like you're looking through a kaleidoscope and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think that that's correct, because I sort of feel like we have a sort of, I think we have like a sort of similar eye setup, like optic, like maybe many things do, just like it's a some type of, it's like a hexagonal mesh of cells, I think, that are
Yeah,
there.
it's like multiple eyes everywhere, and they're just kind of solar paneled together.
Yeah, and I guess I found this to be happening one time when I was like kind of like woke up. You know, like when you wake up, but you haven't opened your eyes yet. You're kind of, my eyes were like not adjusted yet. I could feel like the sun hitting my face through the window or whatever, and it was like I could see that light or whatever, and then I just realized like it takes some energy to actually see, like to actually we have to apply a little bit of energy to those cells to turn them on, and then they start doing that thing, and we can do that all day long until we have to go to sleep. But you know, eyes do get tired. There's a certain amount of like stress and strain that you have to put to your eyes. Like I feel like it's a little, uh, it's it's kind of like a photo sensor, like where you have to supply it with some battery power, and then it can see the stuff. Like even though like you would think like all digital cameras could be solar powered if it's just the sensor, right? It would just draw some power off that, but no, that's not the case. I don't know. It's just I've been thinking about vision a lot lately. And like little pieces of dust in the air that seem to travel like way fast, you know, like and in this particular line, or you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you
I
know,
just had a thought, but I can't remember.
I'm sorry. Anytime you have a thought and I'm talking, you just go feel free to interrupt if you like.
It was going to be about something you said,
It's
but
about
then you said something else interesting, and then I forgot it.
Yeah.
Something about eyes, obviously.
Like it takes some energy to see something. Like you have to apply a little energy. I don't know. Maybe that. Not that.
Oh yeah. So you can even like, I'm sure you know about it too, but like you can damage them without even feeling it, and which is weird. Like, you know, if you're under the LED lights for too long, they tell you to put on those certain glasses because the spectrums that are in there can fuck your shit up, because a lot of the lights are like full spectrum, and then some of them aren't. They're specifically tailored to a certain spectrum that cultivar likes. Like there's a dude, Grandmaster LEDs. He's up in Canada, and but he's like been recently shipping lights out here to the US and stuff. But yeah, he's got lights that are built like that to where you can go in and like hook it up on the computer and crank up certain NM and shit. It's really weird, but yeah, they tell you you have to put on the safety glasses, basically the UV protection, because you'll just be under there not realizing it, and the next thing you know, your shit's just Feels like you're each time you blink, feels like you've got 90 grit sandpaper in there.
Yeah. I didn't realize that too when I was up in the high desert that you can get eye burn in your sunburn on your eyeballs for a while.
It just won't peel.
No. Thank goodness for that. Be a horrific.
Only if we could figure out how to moisturize our skin like our eyes and just be kind of slippery all the time, I guess. But
Yeah. But yeah, better that way.
I think even it said in the Bible, like when he created us, we didn't have skin on. We were kind of like shiny. You know, when you get a blister and the skin raises up and you like kind of, it pops and then it peels away. And then you've got that almost just like reddish, pinkish. It's really shiny looking too. And it's sensitive to the touch. But it's like this shiny reddish meat. It's like the meat. It's like you're going through the epidural layers and you're at the fucking flesh. And I think, we all were just like,
Oh, your
and it says he
microphone.
clothed us in skin.
Oh.
And that was before
But couldn't that be a way to like?
people try to like put the pictures of them in the garden like with animal skins, but they didn't have that because that was after he just like tried to cover himself up after he was talking to God, after eating the fruit and all that stuff. So like when he was originally made, while the serpent and stuff was talking to him, he was just shiny flesh.
Yeah. That's what's up. I'll be right back. I'm gonna have coffee.
Can you imagine a sunburn with that shit? God. You couldn't go outside. You couldn't walk around. That flesh is sensitive. Anytime you cut open your hand, you pour anything in there, alcohol or dirt or anything, it starts rubbing around, getting all. Imagine walking around on that. It's just like walking on a bed of nails. I don't know. These are just questions. If you really want the answers to, you just got to behave and be good. Be good and believe in Jesus. Accept Jesus into your heart as your Lord and Savior, and then you're gonna get the answers to all these questions. You just have to wait and be a good little boy. You can you can cut up some goats and some chickens and say some words backwards and do some jumping jacks and stuff, but it's only going to take you so far. It's not going to give you all the cool answers. And if it does show you anything at all, it should just let you see that there's layers that are way, way further beyond that are way more powerful. So,
Are there true oracles or true talismans of the god, or is that just some witchcraft shit to you? What do you think?
well, all the like oracles were fucking stoners traveling stoner, hippie, psychedelic pushing and taking.
You don't know. You're making a broad generalization. There's a
No,
whole
like
of
almost all the prophets that had that were given visions.
Mhm.
It like describes when they were going about their daily business, the market, like what they would have in their markets that they would have with them whenever they would go around selling stuff. And it's those sweet smelling herbs that the Most High loves. And it's so coincidental he calls himself the Most High.
sweet
Yeah,
smelling reeds, right?
yeah, dude, just water reeds. That's
Water
all.
reeds.
I'm
It's a
sure.
marsh.
Yeah, I'm sure marshy plants just smell great when you burn them. Smells like fucking chlorophyll. You know what I mean? Like what the? Okay.
It's so anthropomorphic that
That one's above me. I have to
I'm
Google that.
I just mean like it's like it's meant for people in a way. Feels like it helps your mind out. Like you think of crazy shit. Like I don't know. It helps your hurts and all that, and it's got like a presence to itself. Just the actual plant is like a weird kind of being, some kind of type. You probably. I mean, I don't think it's just like every house plant. You know what I mean? Like there's differences in dogs too. You know, not everything's a Great Dane or a German Shepherd. But anyway, I think cannabis really cool plant, and it like where it gets out of is like well the whole indica idea, you know, that's out the not in India, like the Ganges River, right? There's one of them fucking rivers now just used exclusively for pooping in probably. But back then, you know what I mean, this seemed like the natural place where a lot of these like indica varieties like would have just been happening, you know. And other places, right, where it have been marshes. This is a tenacious spacey, you know what I mean? You would think it would have been more prevalent in the past, you know, widespread and stuff like that.
Oh, I bet it was, dude.
Like some OG biblical varieties is probably way dope, right?
But I
Or
mean,
maybe
it's no.
less so. Maybe it'd be like brickweed, and you'd be like, man, I thought this biblical weed would be way better, but like the hybridization has really done a lot of wonders for.
Yeah, that's probably true too. I mean, everything we came into contact with was, pretty bullshit, and then they worked its way up. But it's
But like,
not even like super tongue in cheek or coincidental that there's like the lineage of Kush and like the Kushites.
Word. Yeah, it's some for real stuff, man. You know, they'd be putting that in their beard oil and stuff. You know, imagine that using some fucking high test beard oil. You know, some THC properties.
Your whole fucking cheeks are just tingling all day.
Like, yeah, it's the ancient past. I mean, supply and demand. You ain't got that many people. Like, you could have some kind of like fully some kind of shampoo you could smoke and get high, but you could just I'm just gonna wash my hair out. Something with this.
Well, it
crazy.
says that's what they did, dude. Like if you go look at the, it's like literal commandments from God to Moses in Exodus, and he's telling them like, get these certain plants, turn them, and it says use use apothecary and turn them into oil, and then consume the oil but then specifically it says to do like you're saying, like rub on your head and to rub on your face and like anoint yourself with it.
Right. So
Which is, I mean, that makes sense because your skin's the most absorbent part of your body. So Well, it's your bit, not the most absorbent, but it's like your biggest absorption. What do you call it?
So they're getting down with like the Rick Springfield oil out in the Bible, huh?
Right, yeah, but instead of just like ingesting through the mouth or whatever, it sounds like they did a little bit of, it sounds like they just rubbed activated oil all over their face. And like, I don't know, maybe I'm gonna have to try that, dude. Make like some facial cream and just see where it takes the head. Put about like 5,000 milligrams in it. And then just start reading the Bible and do a smudge.
Just put it on your third eye. But that also makes me think that there was some kind of something else going on with the third eye dot. You know what I mean? Some kind of transdermal LSD going on there.
What if I told you every third eye is brown?
I got it. But then yeah. But I think that like all these traditions are probably like crazy spread the fuck out, like way more, because you got so many different sects of Christian S sects of Christians. Why has it got to be the same sound? What the fuck now? Groups? How about I just say groups? You know, that's the problem. You try to sound smart, you're gonna say things that sound perverted to other people or yourself. Anyway, different Christian or different groups of people that were later like, you know, like we're gonna make you Christian now, or whatever. Yeah, they like absorb their stuff in there. I wonder, like, is there a connection between the Ash Wednesday forehead business and the dot on the forehead business? You know what I mean? We like,
yeah.
We lost the Ancient Aliens episode about how that connects or whatever.
Yeah, and even like the Pope does that shit, doesn't he? He like gets holy water and rubs it and like does it sprinkles them and then like puts some oil and does a cross on their forehead.
Right. But I got that whole pine cone. You know that they know about the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, they say that. Yeah, the pine cone, it could be the pineal, but it could be just a fucking fat ass bud.
You guys are funny. Buds.
We're talking about biblical buds. Care to join? Puff pass?
Yeah, pass it over here. Do
Dude, I'll
the
send
virtual
it.
puff pass, yo.
What you know about the cannabisum?
DM me the Addy. I'll send that
You
shit.
give me a virtual pass and I'll hit something right now.
It's a virtual pass.
But you got
about to hit you with some Ezekiel number 4. I think this is number 4.
Ezekiel number 4.
I'm about to. No, I'm dead ass. I'm about to hit a puff right now.
Wouldn't that be hilarious if they had some biblical like micro?
What do you got? You guys puffing on something right now?
He ain't gonna hit a blinker. He gonna hit a thinker.
I'm about to roll one up, man. Yep, yes, sir.
But isn't it crazy too that like also there's the whole silver thing, and then there's the colloidal silver connection with the actual the plant. You know what I mean? But like also that's a whole Jesus thing with the silver. But then that's also alchemical. I mean, I'm dizzy. Let's hit
like vampires.
Could be vampires. Could be killing vampires. Maybe. Who knows?
I know. I believe that cannabis was included as an anointing oil for sure. It's in the Hebrew.
Is it like the anointing oil though?
I believe so. It is. Yeah. It's one of the ingredients in the anointing oil. Cannabism is the Hebrew. Cannabism, literally, that's the Hebrew for whatever word that you want to translate right there.
And what's the other ingredients? Myrrh and or something else or what?
There's like frankincense. There's myrrh. There's stacte and.
Man, what if they brought like Jesus? Like, what if they brought him like gold, frankincense, and like some like Hindu Kush. What was that? Was the third one? When
The three wise
like,
men pulled up with a couple packs.
like
Oh
the
yeah,
real,
so the three wise men, they brought frankincense, myrrh, and gold.
Gold.
I wonder
he's
what the gold was.
Acapulco gold, and
Nah,
then
I'm
he's like,
joking.
I'm the most wise man over
Right.
here, talking to the most.
Acapulco Gold.
Acapulco gold, dude. That's
Oh man.
There's a pound from our recent harvest.
It's from my biblical weed humor set. I'm working on this.
Right.
Stand up.
Ganja interpretation of the Bible right here, or what's going on?
This goes over big at youth groups.
I want to make more jokes on this, but it's,
The millennials love it.
yeah, cannabism was used as an anointing oil, holy anointing oil that would, because the priests were supposed to be physicians, tending to the sick, tending to the needy who had skin lesions and all types of problems. They would literally rub the oil on their foreheads or on their skin, and the people would receive healing or relief from their infirmities. Now, what kind of oil would do that we see today that has that capacity? And then when we see Rick Simpson oil has that capacity. Well, who would have thought that these priests thousands of years ago had come to this realization that just topically this had potential, just topically applied has extreme potential, unbelievable, miraculous potential.
Bro, so edibles don't work for me, right? So anyways, I go to the weed shop one day and talk to a cool bud tender. I'm like, bro, man, I don't think edibles work for me. I've eaten so much and nothing. So he's like, I got you, bro. So he busts out a syringe, like the distillate of RSO, Rick Simpson oil. He's like, bro, there you go. Just down the whole gram. And if it does nothing for you, then there's no way anything else is going to work. I was like, okay, down, bro. I downed the whole gram, and I wish I would have dabbed it because it did absolutely nothing. It's like, fuck, man, this is bullshit. Because whatever it is, I got the enzyme or missing the enzyme to break it down. I forgot which one it is. It just sucks. Because people say like edibles are like psychedelic, sort of, when you eat a lot.
You know what's kind of
Nothing
psychedelic?
happened? He said, wait, hold on, nothing happened?
Nothing, dude. Zero. I do not get high by eating weed. It just doesn't work for me.
But have you ever
There's-
vaped it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, vaping and smoking absolutely gets me high, but eating
okay.
it is the enzyme, liver enzyme thingy.
But don't you think that like certain terpenes are a little psychedelic and some are not? Some are more sedative. Like I like my lemonade. That gives me some kind of
myrcene. I'm a myrcene dude. If things got a lot of myrcene in it, it smells like mangoes. I'm like, yes, give me that shit.
Oh, that was one of the greatest. It was mango charcoal spice variety that I had, and I believe it had some
charcoal. Fucking
it
names.
was the most mellow. I mean, it's amazing. Like if you just had like the perfect weed, you know what I mean, and then just everybody had that, and you were like, oh, this is basic bitch weed. This is just all that grows here. You know, nothing else really grows here. Like you would have not a utopia, but it would be very helpful, like to the whole of this, like a little group of people. You know what I mean? Like we're just all our own chiefs. Like we're just chiefing on our weed. And, you know, you have that. I don't know. Maybe that's how the first city started out, just like smoking a cipher, and it's like, yeah, I got a great idea here. We stop going around in these tents for a second. Hold on. You're gonna love this. We set up shop. Think Isaac Newton blazed a little bit?
Sure, he's an alchemist. So Isaac Newton spent most of his life working on alchemy. Okay, not calculus, not Newtonian mechanics. Fuck what they say. All right, and this is mainstream knowledge, really. That he's 100% alchemist. Most of his work was in alchemy.
Can I say this thing about alchemy? And when people say like, oh, you become part of the alchemy, and then they're like, oh yeah, I'm an alchemist or whatever. But like, also, weren't those dudes just getting like fucking fumes and poisoned by like metals and materials and stuff?
Oh,
like
the alchemists?
They would be
Hell
getting
yeah.
high on shit
100%.
for sure.
100%.
They would have no
They
idea.
didn't know what they were fucking with.
No. Like you become part of the work. Yeah, I'm addicted to mercury salts now. Yeah, they fucking make me see the Smurfs.
No, that's the honest truth that some of these alchemical potions allow your mind to escape this reality. They were able to create potions, you know, the witch's brew, depending on the brew, had the capacity to transport you to a different reality because of certain chemical keys that unlock, you know, gateways in the brain. You know, Hermes and all that mercury, that goes back to like some ancient mystical chemical knowledge, Babylonian mystery slop.
They used to use mercury to
Oh
disinfect
hell yeah!
a wound. You
Yo,
disinfect.
mercury's in vaccines as thermosol, and that shit goes back to Hermes,
used-
right? The you know, the staff, the Asclepius.
I don't think
You
that's
guys
how you
know
say
that.
it, but then
There's Asclepius and Caduceus. I forget which one's the one with the single
this
snake.
is okay. I thought you were saying one the other way, and I was like,
There's two snakes and then there's one snake pole, but I forget.
what's the snake pole itself called? Just the pole.
Hermes staff.
Oh.
That's Hermes staff, and yeah, there's a serpentine connection because you know the dragon, and also the whole toroidal vortices and all that. The sacred geometry is
about-
connected to that.
How about voltage? How about
That
like
too.
positive, negative? Like, do you think that these dudes would have been like, oh yeah, we know about getting charges off of stuff and like running it through some like wire. We understand about some stuff like that. Or maybe they could have even used something simpler, like just like a wet piece of rope, possibly. To like, I don't know, what could you use to an electrolyte, like to instead if you didn't have like copper wire that you could pass some kind of voltage through it or whatever.
Well, that's the thing. The ether physics and magic are intertwined, right? What they used to talk about magic, we now think of it as electromagnetism. What they thought of sorcery and all this other stuff, because you know the Vedas talk about Vimanas and the Mercury, and or do they? Do they not? Or
No,
is that just bullshit?
the Vimana is talking about the ships of the gods, okay? But that's because they saw all the constellations as the ships of carrying the deity. You know what I mean? That the constellation is the structure that carries the god, the whatever the minor god through it. So that's one thing. This other channeled text comes later in like the early 1900s or 26 or something like that, where it's like some dude under hypnosis, like recalling these ancient structures and then talking about them and stuff that later they're illustrated with woodcuts and stuff. You know, it's rejected by a lot of people, but it's something that's very
What text
brought
are
up
you
on the-
referencing? Just curious. What text?
This is like whatever talks about Vimanas as like real mechanical ships or any kind of real article like of human engineering.
Saying...
The Vimanas are God-made godcraft, and they basically are the star constellations that house the different gods. I think
you'd have to show me that, bro.
All those-
I would love to see some verses on that. I have some on.
Is it in the
the
Vedas?
I want to say it's in the Rig. I think everything that's important is in the Rig Veda. The four canons of that, I think. Which is
they
also
do speak of Vimanas, dude, and machines. Even though they're heavenly chariots, even the Bible chariots of fire, they were understood by the ancients as advanced technology, dude. Just described from their perspective. Right? That these deities in the whether the Greek pantheon or the Hebrew pantheon, whatever. Not they did the Hebrew pantheon, but this divine council of gods, they have these chariots, dude, that they travel the realm in for whatever reason. Why do they need chariots? I don't know, dude. But they have them.
We're simple creatures, man. Like what are we even trying to look at? That's what you would be like that back then. You'd be like, what the fuck are we looking at? They're like lights. You know, we would have no science, no Carl Sagan shit, no Bill Nye the Science Guy to tell us indoctrinate us about that. It would just be like from our tribe, like, you know what I mean? That's whatever. We won't even talk about them. There's very little even description of the color of the sky ever until like the 20th century. We say the sky's blue. You know what I mean? But before that, there's no real color of the sky as known. You know, it's a weird thing. It's just how we relate to nature and like exactly how specific that you could get, and how ensconced in the no, that's the wrong word. But like we're just born into the soup of all like the 20th century and all the science and the age of discovery. You know what I mean? So like we're predisposed to a certain framework of perception. All this kind of stuff. So I like to just think back to like Ezekiel's turbo diesel blend, and like imagine what the fuck that they could have been told that these things were. And I mean, probably certain places that was like sacrosanct, you know what I mean? Like if you said that there were other than those stars, what does that star mean? Like maybe they would be like lop off your head if you said the wrong thing. Possibly, who knows? Maybe you're like you're not from there. You ain't from around these parts here. You see, you don't know our local star definition. Fire up the hookah.
Wait, Ezekiel's wheel was a turbo diesel? I didn't know that. Shit.
I'm just saying.
What Snax is talking about, though, I get what you're saying, dude. And there's a name for that type of interpretation of scripture where people, it's called the doctrine of accommodation. Because now, philosophically, it just means what you're saying, bro. Oh, they just kind of symbolically interpreted it this way. I wrote it down that way.
Bro, I'm predisposed to thinking it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. But if I was raised different, if I had a different show to watch, I mean, maybe it'd be a different story if Insane Cloud Posse ran the fucking neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So that's all. We're all born into this time stream, and nobody has any control over, at any time ever. That's never happened. Nobody. We're all victim to where we're born in time, to some extent. Or you're the fucking savior and you were born for a reason. I don't know, whatever. But we're always playing catch up, and especially in the 20th century, there's so much more catch up to play.
I don't mind. I'm not reluctant to the idea or hesitant to the idea that there's other intelligent beings out there with advanced technology and crafts. Like I'm not hesitant to that idea. It's part of my worldview or paradigm.
Bro, I believe you would rather believe that there are completely extraterrestrial beings that have completely different technological bases and biologies to us, rather than understand that like the Indian sort of framework is part of the pantheon that arrives to Christian concepts. Like it's all part of the same continuum of spiritual whatever
spiritual guidance
is. Like you can build a city and it can burn down, but it's like building a religion is like building a city that can't burn down or something. I said that. I'll be right back. I have to get more coffee. I don't know if that's quotable, but kind of. I'm just faking.
Okay, so
I'm faking it. I'm faking ego here. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's fine. So it's just like we're trying to get to the bottom of this. We're trying to get to absolute truth. Were these ancients simply hallucinating? Was this all a figment of their imagination? Like if you go right now, most people, if you say that the earth is flat or that the earth is geocentric, or if you promote the idea of intelligent design, you're basically considered a lunatic in their minds. You might as well be a lunatic.
Definitely a heretic.
Because in their minds, that's what you are, dude. They might act like, oh no, they'll treat you normal, but in the back of their minds, dude, this guy's, I met this guy today. He came in my office. He was a flat earther. Ah. So, we could be incredulous like them and pretend like the ancients were just, dumb and they weren't really that advanced. They were just kind of misinterpreting things, which there is some truth to that too. There is, inductive reasoning led him to false conclusions on things, many things.
Like stars being gods. Like a twinkling light being a god.
Yeah. Like silly shit.
Well, they. I mean, that's the legit situation, though. That they were considered that, but first, in the Indians, they're like aeons or spirits. They believe that they could fall to Earth, like that a shooting. Do you think that shooting stars fall on the ground? You know, they thought that. You know, there was no reason for them to not think so. They couldn't have proved it either way.
They could have came from the ground too to go up there. But anyway, they also think everything's got something alive in it, whether it's a light, a gas, and no matter what UFO, UFOs still go around today. People still hallucinate and say, well, it had to be aliens and this and this and this. And like they go off on weird explanations when they have no clue what they're even looking at but a twinkling light. So yeah, it's weird. They do it today still.
They invert the truth. Like, okay, so like aliens are definitely bullshit. But just because aliens are bullshit doesn't mean that there isn't other intelligent life forms out there in our own reality besides us. Okay, so yeah, we can attack aliens, but I feel like flat earthers have this hesitancy to just like join the bandwagon and just hop on the bandwagon sometimes, and all be against aliens and anything that even remotely is similar to that idea of extraterrestrials, right? They're hesitant to that idea. Why is that? And then they talk about blue beam, and it's all blue
Why can they be
beam.
terrestrial? Terrestrial demons, like from the Bible. Why can't it be that?
That's what I'm saying.
Why do they
Why
have
does it
to be
all have to be
extraterrestrial?
blue beam technology? Oh, it's just hologram. Like, are you serious, dude?
I'm not
You're
even
saying
sure.
it's been blue beam, dude? Like all this stuff, all these phenomena of underground UAPs and stuff are coming out the ocean. That's all blue beam.
So underneath the ocean,
Navy sailors are
that's where
witnessing the shit.
Admiral Byrd, this is where the German tie comes in from, like the ones that came up from beneath the sea. Those were weird because they were definitely reported by pilots in World War II or after, whatever.
Well, they still could have been like U-boats or something.
I put air under the tub or
Could've
the little backyard little pool. You put things with air in it down there, or you do stuff and you hold it down there, you let it go. It's gonna go. It's gonna pop out.
I would put a lot of the
Extraterrestrials.
80s sightings, in the ocean. I would put off probably just drug drops.
You can watch the Vimanas move around every night. Like, you guys stargaze at all?
Like at what point?
Like after,
No,
What
they
the-
already
A
had.
little bit. Go ahead.
have you ever seen the stars that move after like post sunset, around midnight, and right before sunrise? You'll see there's tons of activity above your head if you look close.
I can get with that a little bit, but I think that probably the DoD had like loitering drones that could hang out there before I ever noticed that was a thing, or before anybody ever mentioned.
They're spying on us. That's what you think are stars moving our drones.
That's what you think. It's a
Snax
star.
is-
It's a star height, though.
I'll tell you,
You can see it
for damn sure, because I spent a lot of time in the desert and I had the opportunity to see some night vision goggles. But yeah, like see a star that doesn't move for a long time and then follows a plane. Not a thing that I could explain by any other means. It seems like some of them will like drift a little bit, like near sunset. I'm sorry to be so lengthy.
No, you're good. You know who else talks about that? Blaze. She's been talking about this. There's certain stars that move, and then there's another girl that I was talking to because she also follows the sky, and they're all flat earthers. And apparently, there's certain stars, the leader of the constellations, according to Enoch, who are actually, it's another time marker. There's leaders, there's chief stars that are leaders of the constellation, the zodiac. But I don't know which stars they are. We don't really know how to identify them through Enoch.
How much
But
are you willing to pay? I'll tell you.
Apparently, they've already been identified, and there's certain stars that lead the constellations, dude. I don't know which ones they are, though. Do you know, Cyrus?
There's so right now I don't know. We won't be able to see Arcturus. So Arcturus in the sky. that point, they go to that. So you'll see all these wandering stars. I call them, they're not planets. So I'm not using it that way. It's a fucking star that you'll see moving, and they don't move in a straight line. Like they will curve, but most of them do move in a straight line. However, they will stop, pause, and sometimes reverse fucking direction. And anyways, sometimes during the summer, because you'll be able to see Arcturus to off like towards the west, you will see a lot of these stars. They will go towards Arcturus and disappear right around it. Right when they get to, you can see increasing in height because we'll start off in the sky. You're just stargazing, thick stars, everything is cool, shooting star here and there. Then you see a fucking, it's like a star come out of nowhere, really bright, and then dims out, dims, as it just goes in a straight line, and then just disappears out of sight. Like, and then a lot of these, bro, and tons of them move in the same exact direction. Like there's one going that way, then you'll see another one, then another one will come from the opposite direction to the same exact point in the sky.
Well,
I don't know what those are.
Either they're watcher stars or watcher drones, but I can't tell the difference, even with some badass Gen 1 night vision goggles. But I don't know.
I've used third gen night vision goggles, bro, but not recently on these. But yeah, it's legit. They move.
They're super.
I don't know what the fuck it is.
Super interesting.
Want me to read it? A little bit.
You can see them with your just with the bare eye, but like you can see other ones that you can't see, and then that really like think. Go ahead. Oh,
it says here. Trying to find the chief. Go ahead. I'm looking for it.
The chief. I would notice that like in the beginning of like sunset from the first star that was visible, it was like from that second, and then like 2 seconds later it was like there's another star, and then there's another star, and then those three would have formed like a line, sort of like there's a conduit. And I'm like, wow, am I just looking at interruptions in the sky? You know what I mean? It's like a fiber, like a filament, you know, but like maybe I'm only seeing the interruptions of what is continuing. You know what I mean? And I put my head, you know, on LeVar Burton thinking mode. You know what I'm saying?
I ended up settling on these are angelic crafts. You just call them angelic crafts, Vimanas, whatever.
No, dog. No, that's not what to think. No, you're wrong. It's that they're electrically connected in a band. They band together. They form shapes because of this. Like, so they're circuit. They're like continuations of a circuit. What my
that would be cool.
Burton mind says, not that it's being honest.
Space filaments, yeah. It's funny. I could get you Globe Earth articles talking about those. This is wild.
I mean, I don't know why you got to blackball a dude, you know, for whatever.
Blackball who? Who got blackball?
Nah, I'm just saying. I'm just a regular earther, you know what I mean? And I think it makes more sense for things to be, you know, flat and not moving. I mean, just from a basic perspective.
I mean, I thought for like the globe, they would say these moving stars are like satellites, but then the motion is where it's like there's no way they can use a satellite excuse. They can do it for most of them, not for all of them.
You can't. Well, I don't think you could have any motion happening with a stationary satellite. You know what I mean? That then just decides to move, because at its distance it would have to be like going from like stationary to hauling ass, you know?
Yeah, talking about like the geosynchronous versus geosynchronous.
Lagrange points is like a sci-fi time warp concept. It's not even real. There's no like Lagrange points are the Lagrange points are caused because you can't see the moon for a period of time. So it's incomplete from anywhere you are, ever. Again, it's like a lack of something becoming a something. in the sci-fi-ness thing.
What if Isaac Newton was a flat earther? That'd be nuts. Just kidding.
I think like most of the old dudes would not have been able to defend their position quite like a Glober can in 2025. And I think you could have just flayed them with fucking flat earth arguments all day long. That's why it's plateau. The flato. Because plate, you know, it means flat, and platen, and then Plato.
Pleiades. What about the Pleiades?
It's not word association. Okay. All right. Okay. Go ahead. Fine.
Well, I'm just saying, there's a singer who says, teach you about the Pleiades, and it just sounds like the Palladians or like the flat people, like Plateau.
So some would say Pleiades nuts.
They collimate in October. They get brighter in the sky, right? as the machine gun gets ready to go online. There's a lot of shooting stars coming there, and they get brighter. To the naked eye, it looks like they get closer together during October, but it's because they're getting brighter.
Yeah, but what is the they? Is it a UFO, a star, an alien, an angel, a dragon, via mana? Like what is it? What is the twinkling light?
We'll just go with stars and angels for now.
Well,
somebody goes up there and measures.
What? Like, okay, can you get with me? Like, what if the star energy is higher form energy, right? It's not light even. It's beyond light. Okay. And it only happens to be that we see what the star is because it has an interruption where it has to slam down the brakes and turn into light. And then it kicks the fuck back up, turns superluminal, and hits the next star point. It's just nodes. You know what I'm saying? If you think about it that way, that's a much more workable star system than on a for an FE model than some kind of. And you know what I mean? Then it's just a field, and then it can have coherency because you're not going to get a bunch of random ass incandescing, like free floating balls to just all like hang out in a group for eternity, right? Since Sumeria, right? Since the constellations that you could like match, right? Or am I wrong?
Well, why aren't all kitchen lights, street lights, and car light, like every light you see, is that an angel or a via mana or something? Like a candle light far away has to be an angel or something? Like, I don't get it.
Well, you would say that they're always on and they never really go off. And in that case, like, would something that was having energy, because you admit, right, that the light must always be having energy, right? And maybe people would thought like it's a fire in the sky or something. Forever, it's eternal fire burning in just right there, you know, and they're moving around. And maybe they thought that. But anyway, with that light, can fire itself like have a consciousness? We kept the fire going for like ever, as the Zoroastrian people might have. Is it an idea, or like does the eternal flame, like does a flame itself have a conscious thing? Well, some would say, you know, it's conducting electricity and therefore, yeah, it's always consumed. So maybe it's a point of consciousness, even if not human.
What? So you think flames are conscious? Is that your claim?
Oh, I'm trying to real take it for a stretch. Yeah, I would say that the ancient people might have considered that, but then also, like I'm saying, why can't you pass consciousness through a fire if it's capable of conducting 10,000 volts? I don't know.
Sound is energy. Everything is energy,
Well,
really.
does it have
Everything has to be.
agency? That's the thing. Or does it act based on a purely causal reaction-based system where, you know, it gets to a particular point, you know, basically it needs so much oxygen. There's, you know, it's following a rule set. I don't think that it has agency.
Oh, no.
Like, if fire had agency, then it would be able to, like,
tear a whole building down or
think about what it's doing and then, you know, maybe change its course based off of its mindset, which doesn't seem obvious. I mean, I don't know why you believe that.
I don't know. Perhaps you've never seen Howl's Moving Castle. But anyway, fuck off. I was just taking it for a stretch.
What do you mean? Like, is that a film or something?
I don't know. It might be.
Does anyone else agree with this guy's take on fire being conscious?
Well, people in the Bible do. People think they were gods. Remember,
Do
like the
people
No,
light
dude, I don't.
Greeks and
candles for
the.
like
No.
incantations? Do people light
Not
candles
at all.
around fucking it has a fucking magic fucking qualities to it for sure. No doubt.
How do you know that?
And what do you got to have life? Just movement.
Yo, what's up, not? What's up, not Fox?
See, man.
This
I mean,
this
is a
guy's
Roomba
this guy's
alive?
one of us, dude. This guy's one of us. He's one of the logic cult guys. So you gotta come at him with evidence. You can't just. That's
I'm
why.
gonna come at him with a hang up button. Is what I would. Do.
Well, they make
It's
up what
fine. A lot of people
UFOs
can't
are.
handle the truth. You know what I mean? They don't have
Yeah,
logical
a lot of
arguments
people
to
can't fucking
justify the
handle regular
necessity of their
conversations
claims, and
either.
then they
They
don't
gotta
want to
like
justify
go
it
into
using
some kind of like
evidence. You know?
mechanical discussion where that they feel comfortable because really what this is about is feeling comfortable, right?
How can you
What?
UFO evidence? What I asked about
we
UFOs and nobody spoke up. We asked what they are. Are they twinkly lights? Are they sound? Are they objects? What exactly are all these UFOs? Are they people in a plane? Are they aliens in there? Is it just a reflection? So if nobody knows what that is, how are we speaking on knowledge when nobody's got firsthand UFOs? What's that mean, knowledge?
I don't think you have to know everything to know some things, and I don't know everything for sure. But what I think about the aliens is that I think that, and this isn't knowledge, this is just something that I think about them based on my understanding of the Bible, is that they're, like beings that are beyond the firmament. They're like demons and principalities and stuff like that.
I think it depends on who you talk to. Because then what's an alien? And why do they think that a light in your backyard's got a little guy driving it, or an alien, or a group of people? Like it's
It
that's
could be
kind
like
of
a
weird too,
fallen
right?
angel, right? So it could be like a fallen angel that's trying to deceive you or manipulate you or something like that.
I think you're a fallen
Are-
angel.
There are Christians that think that the
Thank you.
stars
I
are
appreciate
alive.
that.
No
They think the
problem.
stars are angelic, right? So just to give them there is some precedence for what they're saying, right? I've heard it said that people think the stars are sentient. They think the stars are conscious. Is that an unreasonable, inquiry? I don't. So if he's asking us Christians, do you guys believe that fire is alive or the stars are alive? I think that's a legitimate question, a good faith question. What do you think, Fox?
Yeah, I think obviously the different planets represent different different things, and they can be definitely conscious. So like Saturn, is surely conscious, definitely. Well, you guys know what that is, right?
What? Saturn?
What Saturn is, yeah.
I'm not sure what it is. I know it's a luminary. Beyond that, I'm not. Why? What do you think it is? Besides a wandering star. Besides that, what do you think it is? I'm bewildered by it because apparently I'm gonna
It's a god. It's a god. Sorry. It's a false
it is a
god. But
god,
no, it's not. It's like a lesser god, right?
an idol. But hold on, because I'm part of an astrophotography group on Facebook, a couple of them, and there's amateur astronomers that are taking incredible images of Saturn, and you can see it, dude. You can see its rings. You can see whatever it appears to be spherical in nature. Is it? I don't know, but whatever the top of it is, there is a pentagram on it, dude, or not a pentagram, a hexagon, excuse me, 6-sided polygon. You've seen it, right? You guys seen it?
What, on Saturn? I mean,
On
it's interesting.
Saturn.
I don't really look into space stuff really because I believe that everything, that there's the waters above and the waters below, and a firmament that separates the waters, and I don't really think about things, well, I do think about things philosophically out of this world, but I'm not really I feel like there's some of the things that we're say that we look up at the sky, and because of what we've been taught in school, which is pretty much going to be false news about the solar system, I don't want to even pay attention to that because I know that I'm deluded because of my atheistic education on it, you know? So I just try to ignore that element of things. I just focus on God, you know, really. But yeah, I do think the different planets are based on a biblical standpoint. They're all like gods or principalities and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Which maybe actually, I don't know if you guys have seen Dante's Inferno and the Orders of the Heavens and the Underworld, and it's obviously, you know, Dante's Inferno was like a play, you know, and they were teasing a little bit and it was a bit jokey, but you know, they order the heavens and the underworld and stuff like that. It's pretty interesting. So I'll pop something in the side chat if you guys are interested in that.
I'm posting in live stream text 1. That's where we usually post. But as you can see, dude, you can actually do this yourself if you're committed enough. I have no reason to doubt this. Like I said, I'm part of a group, dude. I talk to these guys. They have very expensive telescopes. They have the raw images and then the process images. I have no problem because I've seen the raw and I've seen the process. It's incredible stuff, dude. And you can't just throw everything out and act like, oh, it's all CGI. It's not all CGI. There's natural observations. What exactly it is, I don't know. But I just don't. There's some alchemical connection with the luminaries, with the elements, the resonance. There's some ancient Babylonian mystery school slop that I would have to be steeped in to be able to understand it all. But there's something there, bro, for sure.
Yeah, I just put in the chat. But I did want to listen to. It's crazy because obviously that guy was talking about fire as consciousness, but then maybe he doesn't want to talk about that. But I was interested in figuring out why he believed that, but maybe he didn't have a rational justification there. But yeah, I mean, you know, we've got justification that the planets are potentially conscious, you know, so maybe he's got a justification in his worldview. But are these guys all Christians, or is everybody a mix and mash?
Dude, this is a mixed bag, dude. This is just.
Well, how can they be rational if they're not Christian, Torah? That's what I don't understand.
I knew you were gonna take it there, but we were just kind of. It was the morning, you know. We were just kind of talking. We were trying
What
to
are
be
you guys chatting about?
You guys trying to have a crusade already? We can crusade.
Yeah, we were just being diplomatic. You know, he was expressing his ideas. We were letting him flow. Go ahead, Cyrus. Sorry.
Nah, I'm joking, man. Go for it. This is fucking real.
So you guys don't always chop the head straight away. You wait for a little bit, you tease it out like a cat and a mouse, and then bam, you come in with the sword. Okay.
It's pretty rare. I guess I don't know, man. I'm trying to be charitable. We're trying to be charitable, so we let them express themselves. I don't want to be a crusader all the time. But I get you guys. I know, I get it. I'm with that. Defend the truth.
To be honest, I did feel a bit bad for Snax. I don't think he likes me now, but I'm interested in why you think that fire is conscious or what justification you had for that. But obviously, I can't see it. You know what I mean? I can't see that. So I had to ask. Maybe you should just let that fly. Now I know. I did ask somebody before what the etiquette was, but I guess that the etiquette is that you let people fully express their position without putting a dampener on it in any way first, you know. So I'll try and do that more. Sorry, guys. Do you guys talk about conspiracies? Have you guys seen the whole Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens? Is that like a kind of topic that you guys are interested in, or what do you guys like to talk about?
Whatever you want, bro. We're just here to chopping it up.
Chopping it up. Okay, well,
Whatever is
Candy's
on. Go ahead.
I don't know. I think everything knows who you are already. Everybody. All the stuff.
Yeah, I agree with
I
that.
just-
I agree with that. Go on, sorry, bro.
Instability is on the rise, right? We see this polarized culture where it's divided. In Europe, in America, everything's getting taken over. Immigration's rampant, and people are seeing the lies be exposed. Like everything's coming to light. All the bullshit for the past 150 years and beyond. It's all coming to light in our generation, all because of the access of information, the internet, AI has allowed people to increase in knowledge, and now we're starting to unravel the lies, dude. All at the same time, dude. And I think it's overwhelming for society. And it's going to be turbulent. This was prophesied long ago, dude. The age of Aquarius, we're at the precipice of the age of Aquarius. It's supposed to be turmoil and increase of knowledge. The dew of heaven supposed to rain down, Aquarius supposed to spill his water onto the earth, which is a dew of heaven. And as knowledge increases on both the good and the wicked, they are without excuse. Which side do you want to be on? You want to be on the good side? You want to be on the evil side? You have to pick, because it's now more evident than ever that there are two forces that play in the world. Which side do you want to be on?
Positive, negative, acidic, alkaline. I can keep going. Oh. I wanted to say something about the fire being conscious. Somebody brought that up. I don't believe that, but we have to define what that means. But it's interesting. You can deflect a flame with a magnetic field, which is interesting. So you can manipulate it with a magnetic field, which is pretty cool. It's got interesting properties for sure.
Yeah, that is interesting. I don't wonder how that works. I wonder why that is. Do they know? Has that been studied?
I believe so. It's called. I think you're gonna have to check me because I'm going off of memory. 70% sure it's called the Zeeman effect. So let me Google it myself to make sure I got the name right.
You know what's fucking weird about stuff like that? I'm sorry if I shouldn't swear in here. I apologize. I always swear. I really try my best not to, especially when I don't know the rules. So I apologize again. But when they start playing music through one of these, they get like metal tubing essentially, and they set it up with all holes in different places, and then they play music into which forces air pressure and makes the gas come out of the apparatus in a particular way. So depending on the frequency, depends on the shape that it will assume in this frame. Do you guys know what I'm talking about, where they play music and they use it to direct the fire? You guys seen that?
It's called a Rubens tube.
I appreciate
Sort
that.
of
I'm
with
glad that it's called a
Aramaic.
tube because go on, sorry.
There's something to that in alchemy too, with the old Arabic lettering and also the ancient, I would say Aramaic lettering. It had to do something with frequency and fire, bro. I just don't remember. But yeah, with the letters, their shape isn't arbitrary. It had to do with frequency and fire. Go ahead.
So now they've got this device which plays a sound and it puts out fire, which is crazy. And I do think that, when we're looking at the way that wireless internet interacts and stuff like that, and that these, there's frequencies that information travels at. And if the receiver is the same as the sender, then you don't need a wire, as long as it's not interfered with. So that's how Nikola Tesla was able to do that, powering the the light bulb thing wirelessly. that trick he did. So yeah, basically, I think there's something that ties all of that together, and we've not really figured it out, you know. But that's going to be revolutionary once somebody figures that aspect of the world out and ties it all together. I think that's when we're going to start getting nuclear fusion and stuff, guys, you know. Maybe we're going to make some real advancements. I used to think it was impossible to really invent anything now that was meaningful because people had already done it and everything would just be like an add-on to something else. But I do think in that aspect of things, actually, you know, there is more that needs to be discovered in that department at least. So yeah,
More than meets the eye.
maybe it's a djinn, you know, maybe there's some kind of weird djinn or something that is controlling the fire.
Like a high proof.
Yeah, I don't want to call them djinn, really. That's the Muslim way, the
But
Islam
proof,
way.
though, it's got to be pretty high.
Yeah, I don't believe anything unless you've got evidence for it, unless you've got a logical system through which you can account for the truth of the proposition, and you've got a rational basis for the things that you believe, then I'm really not interested, you know.
Like a
But
Bacardi.
if you have got that, then
Area 51.
I respect any person that can just any belief. If you can rationally justify something that you believe about the external world, you know, that I'll definitely tip my hat to you, because
If
most
you
people can't.
if you could just convince yourself that there is something that could grant you wishes, then you could be that thing that grants yourself your own wishes if you think about it.
I wish I had £1 million.
Or is that a genie? Is a genie a djinn?
I don't
Supposedly,
believe in that
yes.
stuff, man. I think there's like demons, and they can do like they can trick you and
This
stuff.
is
But I
a
don't
lot
think.
of, I don't know, name calling. They're just spirits, right? They're not a different class baddie, right? Come on.
Genie in the bottle, baby.
You
Look,
gotta.
I think some
Well,
are real
is a
though,
genie
and
not
others
bound
aren't.
to the lamp? But that's a djinn spirit, right? Which are like they're kind of like elemental spirits, right? Or am I thinking
Well,
of
the
it?
lamp and the
Dungeons and
genie,
Dragons.
because
You've
like in the
never
Quran, the genies are plasminoids. They're
you've never
beings
had
made
a
from fire.
you've never had a friend like me.
No, so in a bottle, fire, light. You know, interesting with vacuum tubes, genie in a bottle,
And
electrical
so
beings.
and so the friction is causing the plasmoid to activate. So you do have to rub it, quote unquote, the right hand rule.
You gotta rub it the right way.
Yeah, it should start glowing.
He was
If you
reluctant
have
to say
a
it. Yo, he
fluorescent,
stopped and stuff.
Well,
I
it's like
thought
the star in a jar,
it'll
right?
work.
Like it's the star in the jar idea too, right? It's just like that's the ultrasonic becoming visible, you know, in the
Yeah, we believe in demon spirits, like or a wicked spirit or something like that. But
like
I don't. I think that they believe that there's like they anthropomorphize it and say that the jinns don't have feet, but maybe they've got arms. You know, which is interesting. But we don't see it like that. I think that when we're talking about like a spirit, that you can be possessed by an evil spirit. So let's say that you are an alcoholic or something, and you've got that addiction, and that overcomes you and your ability to choose freely to some degree, then you've been, compromised by a demon spirit. That's how I view it, and they are real. But
we're
the way that the psychologists look at it is a bit different to that, But I think the Christian way of looking at it, it actually allows people the ability to recover from those kind of addictions. The Christian psychology is better, in my opinion, than, you know, the modern day stuff. But yeah, that's what jinn are really for me. You know what I mean, from a Christian point of view.
Well, if you've ever looked into like some of the books, the Lesser Keys of Solomon, the Higher Keys of Solomon, and the Testament of Solomon, and some of the grimoires, whether that was written by Solomon or not, there's some alchemical knowledge that was passed down going back to, you know, Babylon. And in that stuff, they talk about like sigil magic and frequencies and sacred geometry and centrifugal forces. But the way that they describe it, like it's all alchemy, dude. They talk
Well,
about feminine energies, masculine energies
It's not
coming
just that
together.
though. It's the like I think that there's some kind of like combination of these things in the ritualization of it, where it's like the female observer looks into like an obsidian slab at the wizard guy saying the stuff, and then it is like that because it's really, I don't know, psycho fucking inducive. I don't know, like it gets you into some kind of like weird crossed up conscious level or something like that. And
No,
so,
I know
so
what you're saying.
thanks.
Suggestive.
Like a kind of a quasi hypnotic state where it's like you have the trigger and all these things are kind of like embedded in there, and like, you know, that thing. So like in Solomonian spellcraft, I think that's the deal. You know what I mean? Not like I'm a spellcraft expert, but you know.
Yeah, I do think actually, like, if you get people, and I've been trying to work on that in a way because I try to use by any means necessary in order to convert people. I mean, obviously, we don't, you know, we try not to do evil things, but one of the things, you know, obviously we all do bad things though, and even I do bad things, but you know, I try not to do evil things, but using, like, over time I've been working on like different ways of doing apologetics, right? And if you say things in a particular way, it's just way more likely to land with people. Like, so like you can literally manipulate their mind with like almost a hypnotic rhythm or something, basically. And not just the rhythm, but it's also about the way that it's framed. Like, as long as it's agreeable and they can accept it without really going over it in their own mind consciously. They don't have to process it. They just follow along with you. And then you make sure you keep reaffirming it as well. Like, are you with me? Are you with me? Are you with me? And as long as they are, then, you know, you can really change the neural pathways in their brain or something, you know, so that they...
Oh my goodness, dude. That is crazy.
Yeah,
that, yeah.
Brainwash, yes. Yeah.
He's right though. Mental transmutation or whatever, right? Or
it's weird. Conscious frame is changed somewhat. And anyway, like I guess it's really like, if you think about the whole structure of the wizardry, right? It's like you're gonna have women, you're gonna have wizards, right? And there's kind of like the chicks are gonna make the wizards look hotter, you know. Let's just say, okay, and this creates this kind of like weird sex power pyramid. I don't know. They don't talk about this shit in high school, but it really does happen. And I think that's just like how they grew up in a way, and then they, you know, like there could have been this whole psychism, really behind. Yeah, we play with chemicals too. Like, you know, we know some alchemy and stuff like that, but a lot of this, what we I guess ascribe to the dark mages, is, you know, possibly out of an era of just like corruptive, you know, people fucking dealing with like these hypnotic techniques and such. Yeah, not that that's interesting to talk about.
Yo, what Snax? What if though, right? The wizard, right, has the capacity to make you look at that woman, even though she's a hag, an old hag, look like the most beautiful woman you've ever seen.
like the man commands the power as the wizard, and then the woman feels that shit. So the woman's like the vessel through that stuff to like imbue that to make it like a real thing. You know what I mean? In the Solomonian stuff. So that's why it kind of works like that. It's really not good. I don't think practice. I think it's fucked up. That's why we have like so many psychological problems. People were taking advantage of them for most of history. It's the masculine, the feminine, and then pulling it through some kind of like spirit entity or whatever, and it's the reaction. See, it's like the woman watches the wizard and then she reacts to that. It's like the reactive person is always almost more powerful than the person that does the thing. It's even in like movies and films. Like think of Jurassic Park. Like you see the Brontosaurus. You know what I mean? But it doesn't really click into you until the guy whips his like fucking Ray-Bans off and he's like, holy shit, fucking dinosaur. It's the reaction shot to that, is what compels you to believe that shot is real in that movie. And so it's like a belief mechanism for people. I think we just work that way. I had that thing happen when I thought I was being interesting again. Damn. Oh.
Yeah, listen, no,
you are, bro. I'm thinking about it. But I did look at your profile and think you've got a dinosaur on your profile too. But my dinosaur is wearing a tinfoil hat, and I don't think that. I think that dinosaurs existed until the Middle Ages, as well. I think that they are lying to us about dinosaurs in the same way that they've lied to us about the solar system. So maybe you sound like you are a fan of walking with dinosaurs, which honestly my brother used to like, and I hated. I hate the idea of million-year-old dinosaurs. And even before I was a Christian, I used to think about this idea of like walking with dinosaurs and just think this is the worst program ever. Like, why would anybody want to live in this fake reality?
Well, I've thought about it quite a bit to the point of total disbelief and then total non-belief, and then I think we just find bones and then we talk about them. But I don't know if there ever was a T-Rex. But it's like the story's great, and then it's like, was there actually dragons though? And then I'm like, no, that's crazy. And then I'm like, but if it's crazy enough, maybe it's real. And I'm like, no, it's still crazy. But then I started like learning a little bit more about lizards and things, and I'm just saying, like, given the right species, it could have just happened. I mean, they have like some peculiar properties, many of them. You know what I mean? Some of them, I don't believe in like fire-breathing dragons. I think that's some kind of medieval like candy coating, for whatever.
Stop! You're offending me.
But, yeah, I do believe in fire-breathing dragon. Well, I believe that they used to exist.
Me too.
I do believe in dragons as well, and I think that dinosaurs were dragons. So, like, the thing that you're referring to as like a velociraptor thing, might be a little bit different to that. But there's going to be different kinds of lizard that were big.
I would say it's
eat
like
people off of horseback. Like giant, fast Komodo dragon type things, and eventually, I think they got killed.
I just think like all you need is some, because there are some flying lizards that take like basically like gliding. You know what I mean? Like that's how they fly, but they do fly, and they've been reported like into ancient Indian stuff. Like many of the old Indian temples have like a little flying lizard on them. It doesn't look like a dragon, but it's like a little tree gecko type thing. And then you think about it, like every fiction with dragons has like a siring thing where there's like a woman dragon and a man dragon, and then they have baby dragons and stuff like that. But what if it was like geckos and stuff like that, and you just need a whole bunch of scissor sisters and they could just like fucking make some kind of crazy problem because they could just interact so quickly.
Nah, the Prince of the Air is a dragon, dude. He's
I want to say this as well, because I had Kent Hovind on my show, and he said
Whoa.
I know Kent Hovind, everybody.
Wow. I didn't realize you were name dropping such a big name. Now I have to like consider possibly you're
Dude,
worth listening to.
he's
I
cool.
don't know.
He's like one of the coolest people ever when it comes to debating about dinosaurs and the ancient dinosaurs. But what he spoke about was in biblical times and in the past, based on his understanding of things, which he is very well studied on. I'm sure you guys know. He says that before, like a while back, there was more oxygen in the air, and so things were bigger, and so there's going to be life forms that are huge, much bigger than they are today, because they were more, it was a more oxygen rich environment.
Yeah.
So these dragons, I imagine, were going to be bigger than the Komodo dragons, you know what I mean? And probably some of them would have been faster and more dangerous
I'm imagining
in
something
some
like
ways.
probably a little larger than a crocodile, but with like wings, and it could like swoop in and fucking take you away from life. That's what I kind of think could have lived. And then what kind of like relics would we even have had from that? You know what I mean? They would have been like really either revered or worshipped, right? And then we see that kind of. So I don't think that any of the like the Chinese imperial dragon, the Japanese dragon, they don't look like Komodo dragons, and they look more like serpents. So that's a tough one because like the serpent idea through the whole what is it? I'm going too far. But anyway, I do think like some kind of animal could have existed that could have flown and been a lizard and big enough to be a threat and multiply in such a mysterious way as to seem like magical, like house geckos do. Like they're all basically women. Like also like Komodo dragons
Bro,
are
it sounds
too.
like a jet powered plane. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing
sorry,
fire breathing plane.
You mentioned the Chinese. It's interesting. On their animals for their zodiac, they have a dragon, but not a panda.
Mhm.
And it's the only dragon with a beard.
Yeah, dragons go back as far as Mesopotamia, ancient Babylon. They're depicted on that gate, the Babylonian gate in Iraq. There's a dragon on it, dude.
It's a giraffe.
There's in the Sumerian petroglyphs, you'll see dragons depicted in there with scales and wings, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something with wings. I think maybe there could have been other animals that just had scales, and then like I don't know, like we just like lost them, like they're just not around anymore. Like some megafauna like relatives could have like lived on even into the age of Bible times, and whatever, they're just gone. We don't know.
This one's Ishtar. This is the Ishtar Gate dragon. Now, granted, it's not as big as the antediluvian dragons, but
that's
it's
the
still
long dragon though. It's got a long back.
He had it as a pet on a leash. Like this, the Babylonian king had this thing as a pet, dude. At one point, if you believe it.
Well, it is very interesting that you believe in all of that. And I just want to say that this stuff about dragons existing and stuff like that, this falls in line with a Christian worldview. Okay? And it doesn't fall in line with the secular understanding of things. Like, if you believe that dragons walked the earth until, St. George, and you don't trust, the government and the, curriculum and all of that kind of crap that you got taught at school, then,
Well, I think that's a different thing with this. The St. George thing, I think that's metaphorical. I don't think that there was a real dragon. I think that they're talking about the Tartarian hordes and stuff like that, and then it'd be like demanding virgins, like and tribute and stuff like that. Or else they'd like wipe you out with fire, probably burn your shit down. Like that's kind of what I think.
Yeah, but that's what dragons do.
I know, but it's also like what they would have flown. They would have had their own, like like
Nah, man,
dragon
you
flags and
guys
stuff.
see. This is where you're getting deceived.
No,
You're really making too many excuses for dragons.
it's the well they also dress their horses up like dragons.
Why do you think they did
No,
that?
but
Probably
like,
because they
why
saw
though?
dragons.
Because they were fucking dragon people, dude. They were like, yo, we're fucking dragon people. Let's eat these mushrooms now, guy. We're gonna go slaughter some motherfuckers.
No, man. Look, these are the kind of weird excuses secular people make. If we trust history and we trust our ancestors and we trust the Bible, it all makes sense. What you're saying, I can't justify.
I'm talking about the
But
Sarmatians, the
I
Scythians,
can definitely justify that
the
dragons walk
Asian
the earth in
steppes,
the
all the
Middle
way out to.
Ages based on a Christian view of the world. And I think that makes more sense. Because we've got soft tissue. We had dinosaur. What was it from a T Rex? You said you didn't know if T Rexes had existed, but actually, we got a T Rex bone. Where the bone marrow, there was some soft tissue in the bone marrow, even though like the outer
Isn't that
portion was
that's a miracle?
fossilized.
What a miracle! Yeah, okay.
No, because that means look, if it was millions of years old, then it would be fossilized all the way through. But it isn't fossilized all the way through. It is 70,000 years old or something max, and they tested
Yeah,
it and they rehydrated it and stuff, and they tested it. But when the young Earthers were like,
They
"Oh,
gotta throw
can you test that and see how old it is?" They said no. They refused to do it.
precursors in there. They gotta
yeah,
throw
but
like a bunch of.
that's so that soft tissue
Because
can only
they know it was
exist
going to be
in
like
those
5,000
fossils
years old.
when it was happened by boiling seawater, because that's the only way that fossil will be preserved that way, and that fossil with soft tissue in it cannot be older than 4,000 years, because after that everything decays.
Exactly. So that means that the young Earth theory, at least when it comes to dinosaurs, when people say, "Oh, dinosaurs were millions of years ago," that's not as justified as believing that dinosaurs were alive maybe 4,000 years ago now, and that's sort of in line with the Christian worldview because we think that the age of the Earth is much younger, and that humans got put here after land animals. So there could have been land animals that existed on the Earth just before we got here. And everything lines up, man. These guys are lying to you. It's crazy. And all of the stuff we were talking about, frequencies and how magic works, dude, that's Christian. That's what the Bible says. It says that there's people that twist the truth and they, do all these terrible things and spellcast and sacrifice their children, and they're wicked, and you shouldn't do that. Although they can manifest truth, like false truths, they can bring it because they've got the power to do that. But, obviously you shouldn't use like those dark arts, you know what I mean? You should obviously always be in line with the truth, always speaking the truth and trying to follow in every step in line with Jesus Christ, on the right path. So
Speaking about dragons, I think that, in my honest opinion, there's biblical precedence for dragons, fire breathing ones, Job and Bel and the dragon. For the Orthodox, that's canon, I'm pretty sure. Baal and the dragon, it's Daniel slays a dragon, basically. One of Babylonian kings has a pet dragon. The crazy thing is we're finding the bones, we're finding these fossils of these terrible lizards. The word dinosaur was recently coined in the 1800s by Sir Richard Owen. He coined that term dinosaur fairly recently. For all of mankind's history, they were known as dragons, bro, in various languages, but we all had this concept of dragons. It wasn't just a byproduct of the human subconscious or the collective subconscious. Not at all. These things existed fairly recently. There's testimonies of like Alexander the Great slaying a dragon. Now, people believe Alexander the Great existed or not, I don't know, but apparently that's in the literature. And there's testimonies of these things. But people, they're just incredulous. They think that there's no way. What do you mean? Why not? They're terrible lizards, dude. What's wrong? They're known as dinosaurs. We're finding them. You just think that they're millions of years old.
and they can't prove it. They've got their carbon dated, their circular reasoning when it comes to the geological column and the fossil dating systems. It's just circular, you know. They can't justify it.
It was giant
And
trees, giant
they've tricked
mushrooms.
all of these people into not believing in God, and that's mad. Just in the last 100 years, they've really driven it home, and it's
So
really bad. These
these
people are so
dragons went
evil
extinct, though,
now.
yo. Most of them.